talkSPORT Sports Update with NordVPN. 24/7 digital privacy and protection in one easy-to-use app.
With your headlines at just gone 10 a.m, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. We're hearing Liverpool are closing in on signing PSG's Bradley Barcola, and agreements in place for up to £120 million. What does this mean for Cody Gakpo? Our chief football correspondent Alex Crook says Liverpool want another wide forward before they let Gakpo go.
We know they've had a couple of offers rejected for Yankuba Minte at Brighton. They're not going to meet the £80 million asking price, is my understanding. They made a tentative inquiry for Crystal Palace's Ismail Assar as well in the last 24 hours or so, but Steve Parish has made it clear he's not for sale.
Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest is talkSPORT's exclusive live commentary on Saturday lunchtime. Meanwhile, we're told Omar Marmoush has signed his Spurs contract. Man City are expected to get $60 million. Former Egypt and Spurs striker Mido told us Marmoush is a great signing for Spurs.
He needs Tottenham as well. He's been unlucky with the minutes he's been having at Manchester City. I totally think that it was the wrong move for him to go to City, because he needs to be playing.
Spurs are away to Liverpool in the Carabao Cup third round. The full draw's up at talksport.com. Now, is the League Cup a waste of time for EFL clubs these days? Charlton were hammered 5-1 by Spurs, and Nathan Jones called it a game they didn't need.
You know, when you come up against Premier League sides now, they're different animals. They're physically strong. How they play, it's very difficult to create an upset, but what we have to do is concentrate on the Championship.
Charlton also lost centre-backs Colin Sichenje and Billy Cometio to injury. And with 5 days left of the transfer window, we understand both Everton and Villa are keen on Jack Grealish as Southampton explore a possible homecoming for West Ham's James Ward-Prowse. All the latest transfer news at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
More than 30 British tourists are among more than 1,500 people missing following landslides in Nepal, and pesky seagulls are stealing 170 million quid's worth of our food every year. Sinead has more in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With over 600 centres across the UK, most of which open 7 days a week, we're always there when you need us. QuickFit. Drive away happy every time.
Across England and Wales, heavy rain and thunderstorms slowly moving north. Sunnier skies following from the southeast. Scotland and Northern Ireland, bright spells with scattered showers.
How's that? Next March, the England cricket team face Australia in the 150th anniversary test match down under. And as always, the Barmy Army will be there. Thanks to TalkSPORT, Visit Victoria could be too. Enter now at talksportwin.com for the chance to score an incredible week-long trip for two to watch the 150th anniversary test match in Melbourne with Visit Victoria and the Barmy Army. Enter now at talksportwin.com and get ready to experience the electric atmosphere that only a Barmy Army talk.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim White and Simon Jordan, and we are live in talkSPORT. So, Bradley Barcola from PSG to Liverpool for £120 million. A signing to be buoyed up by, or 1 year on from Isak and Wirtz. Is there a sense of déjà vu? Meanwhile, David Moyes delivers a dollop of pessimism. Would you rather your manager oversells or undersells? Also today, Guendouzi, provocateur or victim? Would you be a loon to pay £200 million for a League One club? Is UEFA right to not boycott? And from midday we talk boxing as we build up to Itoma versus Hrgovic. Jim White and Simon Jordan were live in talkSPORT.
100% engagement. Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
So as I was walking down the road this morning, I didn't prepare myself for the weather and got a good old soaking.
Look
and
out the window and like that.
You're a little bit damp yourself.
Yeah, but I have this obsessive compulsion of walking, so I don't need to be soaking wet. I could have just jumped in a cab or jumped on a train and got a train to here, but I walked from Waterloo.
You walked from Waterloo?
I need to maintain my steps.
Yeah, you seem very proud of that fact that you do that.
Pursuit of 6 million steps.
Well, somebody got in touch with me the other day, and you said over a month. Oh, there it is. Graham Smith on X.
Yeah.
How many steps do you think you do? 17,000 a day.
Just under.
And that 6.2 million steps, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, last year it was 5.4 million steps. So I'm looking for a 15% increase. I've got a step. I don't walk along counting them. I've got
5,493, 5,490. Damn it! I've lost it.
It's about targets and driving yourself and pushing yourself. It's always been something that I'm obsessed with.
Here's something you don't know. Glenn Matlock. Who's he?
Sex Pistols.
Sex Pistols. Former bass player. 70 years young today.
Yeah, he's a very talented musician, Glenn Matlock. Because he gets associated with the Sex Pistols, people don't think they were good musicians. I did Steve Jones's Jukebox in America. Steve Jones, who was a bass guitarist. I was so hungover from my previous night out with, here's a terrible name drop, with Billy Bob Thornton out on the Waz with him. Had to go and promote the film Telstar. Got so sick and drunk that I went on Steve Jones's Jukebox, threw up in my hat, and he was appalled.
What?
I bought a Trilby hat from Barney's, and he was so appalled. And I sat there looking at him going, how can I have possibly appalled a Sex Pistol?
You got to go some to do that, I'll tell you. I don't know, it's probably hypocritical, but was he not sacked by the other Sex Pistols?
He was.
Because at one airport somewhere he said he liked the Beatles.
Correct. John Lydon didn't like him very much, did he? And they bought that was when they bought fatalistically Sid Vicious more into the play.
Gee whiz. Anyway, it's all go,
Anarchy
Simon.
in the UK.
Anarchy in the UK. It is all go out there because it's emerged just before we came on air that a deal has been agreed in principle for Bradley Barcola between Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool. Apparently, the clubs agreed terms of the proposed deal overnight for a package of around £120 million, of which £100 million is guaranteed. So Barcola from PSG to Liverpool. And our chum, French World Cup winner Emmanuel Petit, was talking about this one.
On the left flank, this guy can make so many differences. And this is what's missing as well with Liverpool, the speed, something that can be fast, running with the ball, that can not scare, of fighting against defenders. And this is exactly what they are missing at Liverpool. They have good players, but they need, modern football is based on the fast players, who can make this decision within a few seconds, can make differences, with the ball. And I don't think many players, at Liverpool actually for that.
Okay, Emmanuel. Here's the thing, though, Simon. Liverpool fans, should they be buoyed up by this, Simon, or is there a sense of deja vu? 125 million for Isak, 116 million for Wirtz. Is it a case of be careful what you wish for?
Big game player, though, isn't he? I mean, coming from Newcastle, albeit Newcastle fans will say that they're a big club, but when it comes to coming from PSG and having won the Champions League, having dominated Europe, playing a significant part in what is a team that has been recognised probably as the best team in Europe, I think is a better blueprint. Isak has got a whole raft of combination of challenges behind the reasons why his form hasn't hit, including his own outlook and disposition and the way that the transfer deal was carried on.
Yeah.
But this is a player, I mean, you saw him in the World Cup. This is a player that's very capable of performing at the highest level. It signals Liverpool's intention. It tells you how much money that's in the Premier League, that they're just taking players from clubs like PSG that don't need the money and paying a lot of money for them. I mean, we are now getting to the stage where there's no sharp intake of breath for a £100 million transfer. They're de rigueur now.
Sure.
Tragic, but that's the nature of the beast, and that's the nature of sport. He's a good player. He's a good player. He will be a good player for Liverpool. I don't think it has the same connotations as Isak, different position. It goes to the point of what Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank was making yesterday about how important wingers are and how the game has moved into wide players. I mean, we saw it years ago when Real Madrid came over and bought Loic Cunningham from West Bromwich Albion, that wingers were a fundamental part of it. It's a part of the English game that was sort of phased out after Alf Ramsey for a period of time. Yeah. And now it's back in vogue, and wingers and forward players of that nature are so pivotal to teams if they can work hard and add a value as well as going forward. Yeah. Then he's a young 23-year-old player that I think could be a roaring success.
Well, let's put it out to Liverpool fans this morning, Simon. It's emerged a deal has now been agreed in principle for Bradley Barcola to go from PSG to you at Liverpool. Liverpool fans, is this something that buoys you up this morning when you hear that? Or 1 year on, as I said, from big money deals for Isak and Wirtz, is there a sense of deja vu? Give us a call on that. Tell us what you think. Barcola to your lot, 03717 223344. Simon, across the city, David Moyes has backed up his spiky value of the Cups response in the pre-match presser before the pressing came. as Everton beat Preston 4-0. And then he seemingly delivered what you would only refer to as a dollop of pessimism post-match. This is Moisey.
We definitely need to continue to make additions, that's for sure. You know, and we thought our squad was quite thin last year, and at the moment I think we're still one down on, if you take the way my numbers work out, I think we're one down from where we were even last year. So I still think we're short in the squad, and I still think we're short in quality in some places. I need to try and add that.
Whoa, David somewhat dour in that interview, wasn't he?
What do you want him to be then?
Well, I mean,
called jester.
He was asked as well by the written media, you know, should fans feel that they could get carried away to an extent? I think we've got a lot of work to do, and I still feel that for us to be a side which is competitive, I still think we've got a lot of work to do. But hopefully we're able to try and do some of it. Our squad's not big enough, and we need to get more quality in some areas. And then he was asked, do you feel you'll be able to do that before the window closes? Nah, I'm not sure we will. But it's not for me and the want of trying, that's for sure. So if we don't get anybody in, it won't be down to me, because I'll try my hardest.
Sure, but he can't write checks out, can he? He can't do deals. I mean, why are we trying to portray him as Eeyore?
No, but what's he doing? Is he having a nibble at the owners?
He might be. I mean, you know, it's not the kind of messaging I'd want to see from a manager.
Well, there you go. Why?
Because I don't think it's particularly productive.
Right.
And those are sort of conversations he has with me and with the chief executive, not necessarily with the world's media. But David might be in a very strong position. It might be an agreed position that they take with the media. I can't imagine that it is. But David is an experienced manager. If you know, I'm not. Line is that he's a football manager. His job is to produce results. And so whilst there are some real characters of football managers, most of them are all a little bit up their own backsides, aren't they? I mean, look at De Zerbi, you know, look at managers like that. They're all full of their own importance. I don't take much notice of David. David is far more engaging in person than he is in press conferences.
Oh, I agree with that. He's a great guy.
And he's a very, very capable manager. And my only concern for David Moyes has been about the decisions to play a particular style of football and then take the consequences.
But would you, as an owner, rather your manager oversells or undersells in terms of belief and vision?
I'd rather him win football matches and care about the other things in a different way. I mean, look, you want to see managers.
But you just said you would want your manager speaking like that.
Not in an ideal world, but it also comes down to the nature of my relationship. Because, you know, I remember, you know, again, it's disappearing into Tottenham land, when we were making a 4-act play about an outburst from Conte. And Daniel just said, it's the nature of the manager, a bit temperamental, get on with it. But we were over here jumping up and down about how awful it was and what the manager was doing and how much message he was sending to his chairman. The chairman's going, it goes with the territory. Sometimes you have to rise above the managers because that's your job. You're supposed to be, as the owner of the football club, bigger than they are. I don't mean in stature, I mean in the experience and the characteristics that exhibit real leadership.
Yeah.
Because managers are allowed to have a certain level of leadership. But when it comes to running a business, controlling a business, being responsible for a business, really being responsible for it, responsible for the financing of it, responsible for all the standards that managers are asked to deploy to their team, don't lose sight of it. The most important people in a football club now, and I don't care who doesn't like to hear it, are club owners. Because they're the ones that determine, now they are. They determine what kind of football club they want. People are buying football clubs now for different reasons than the old days of the cook, the candlestick maker, and being a big man in the town. They're buying it for influence. They're buying it for credibility. They're buying it for sometimes sports laundering.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is they will decide what kind of club. Marinakis has decided what football club Nottingham Forest is going to be.
Yeah.
Josh and Stan Kroenke have decided what Arsenal are going to be.
Right.
Sheikh Mansour decided what Man City are going to be. So the owners and their stances and their positions and their styles and their wishes and their dough decides the direction of travel. End of discussion.
I know, but after listening to Lieutenant Happy, a.k.a. Moisey, Evertonians must be thinking, well, what kind of football club do we support here? I mean, it was a TV interview. I mean, we're not talking about life or death here, Simon. It's football. It's the entertainment industry. It's meant to be fun. You know, do you feel you'll be able to do that, you know, add to your squad before the window closes? No. I'm not sure we will.
It's David.
That's really, you know, that's not for me and the want of trying, that's for sure.
What do you want?
David, come on.
Heath Ledger impersonation of Why So Serious? You know, look, the bottom line is David Moyes is the football manager. His job is to win for teams. His personality isn't sparkling. It doesn't fizz. But his teams do predominantly what they need to do. You know, David, you know, has his own disposition, and it might just be that you know, didn't want to talk to the media. Can be a bit wearing, you know, sometimes.
What, the media?
Yeah.
You chose to be in it.
No, I'm talking from the point of view of a person that's not in it, that person's having to deal with it.
Yeah. Oh, wait, yeah, but that's part of the job.
Oh, it is.
So deal with it.
But he is dealing with it in his way, and we're criticising it. So what should we do then? What do you want him to do? Come in with a three-cornered hat on and start singing and dancing?
Well, it's not
like
so
something
much
from Rent-A-Ghost.
It's not. No. It's not so much his demeanour. It's actually what he's saying. Is that the message that Evertonians want to be imparted to them this morning?
But managers,
days from deadline day.
I hear.
Whilst Liverpool are lining up Barcola across the
Liverpool
city.
in a whole different ball game. Liverpool have got hundreds of millions. I would imagine if David Moyes was getting £120 million footballers bought for him, you might see a happier David Moyes. David shopping in Lidl. Harrods, Liverpool shopping in Harrods. So what's his job is to produce a team to win football matches. At the end of the transfer window, most managers dislike it intensely. They want it done. We see it as a commodity and a media opportunity. They see it as an irritation and a constant thread of conversations that half the time they can't answer. Can you imagine being asked a question that really you can't really answer? You're the manager. Put yourself in a manager's shoes for a second, right? He doesn't control the destiny of the finances of a football club, but he's going to be constantly asked as if he does. So he's got to sit there and tap dance and go, right, what do I say? Do I say what I really think, which is it's not good enough and I really need more resources? Or do I try and play the line of respect for my owner? Or do I try and find a halfway house? But either which way, I'm going to be pushed, I'm going to be pulled, I'm going to be cajoled by journalists to say something. So then put yourself in his shoes, knowing you can't really have the control of it. You're being portrayed in the media as the person that runs the club. And you're not. You're an employee.
I get what you're saying, but pre-match, can fans get carried away at this time? No, they can't.
Not with Eon.
I think we've got, and it's the text of what he's saying, the content. I think we've got a lot of work to do, and I still feel that for us to be a side which is competitive, I still think we've got a lot of work to do. To be competitive, I think it's very least that's being demanded. That's the bare minimum.
True. I think it's very, very important the next time we have Moisey on this show, which we do every now and again. Yeah. You tell him exactly what you think of his disposition.
And you think I won?
I'm not hoping that you do.
You think I won?
I'm hoping that he comes on and I say, David, I was listening to that interview they did.
Sure. Do not think.
Go on then.
Don't
go on then.
Shy away with.
Go on then.
Well, over in America, when we interviewed Frank Warren, we were a bit harsh with Frank there. Shut up. No, if there are questions to be asked, we'll damn well ask them.
I thought you guys were a bit small-minded, but that's different.
Oh, well, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Coming from you. So there we go. Liverpool fans, Barcola to you lot. 1 year on, are you buoyed up for it? But 1 year on from your experience of signing Isak and Wirtz, is there a sense of deja vu? And Captain Hilarious, David Moyes, we heard what he said there regards Everton, but as Evertonians, would you rather your manager oversells or undersells in terms of belief and vision? And Evertonians, how do you really feel? How do you really feel when you hear that across the city, a deal is agreed in principle for Bradley Barcola between PSG and Liverpool for the player to go to Liverpool, a package around £120 million, whereas Evertonians, your boss, is wondering if and when you're going to get somebody in. Give us a call, 03717 22 33 44. That was lively.
When someone writes an article that's so smart arse because it knows all the answers, right? And it writes an article about judgment. Now you've got to win, and the only way you can overcome that is by winning it. And so that's what they've got to do.
Right. So on that topic, is anything less than a title challenge failure this season?
Well, it depends what title.
A serious title to be there or there around.
No, but they're not good enough.
Come May.
But then, are they going to beat Arsenal? Are Arsenal ahead of them?
They're still not good enough.
No, they're not a good enough side. They can't possibly be. It's taken 7 years for Mikel Arteta and hundreds of millions of pounds spent slightly differently and wisely because he's got a mature setup with different people in the confines of Arsenal that have got a better way of operating than some of the Chelsea people have achieved so far. It's taken them 7 years. How can we decide? How can you turn on a sixpence and say you should now win the league? Oh, it's bloody stupid.
So what, they won't be in the title race come April, May.
Well, they may well be in what is considered to be a title race, which is a group of sides competing to be really in the top four that might be keeping the league honest by making it look like it's not a runaway train for one particular team. They might be in that race.
Do you think the Resk and Manchester City will be in the title race?
I hope not. I hope he gets fired. But that's a different discussion. But the bottom line is that they might be, because they're the best team in the league, which is why it's all silly about, oh, don't say that, you know, it's not theirs to win, right? Is Arsenal.
Do you think Iraola and Liverpool will be in the title race?
No, I think Arsenal are going to win the league, and I think they're going to win it at a stroll.
So who's it between?
Arsenal.
Should Liverpool and City be expected to be in the title race?
I hope, and we should hope for an interesting season that everybody in the higher echelons of the Premier League really push Arsenal.
Of this sport.
Try and pick up a bell. Try and pick up a few bells, eh?
I'll throw him out of the ring.
Good morning, everybody. 20 past 10 on this fairly murky Thursday morning. It's Jim White and Simon Jordan. We're live in talkSPORT. Alex Crook, the man who knows what's going down and where it's going down, is going to join us very shortly, and he can tell us the up-to-date situation regarding Bradley Barcola. On the move from PSG to Liverpool, it would seem sooner than later. The clubs agreed at terms of a proposed deal overnight for a package worth around £120 million. Reportedly, negotiations are being handled by Sporting Director Richard Hughes and Fenway Sports Group President Mike Gordon. Details being worked upon right now. Alex Crook will join us for that. In the meantime, across the city, David Moyes was more than a little pessimistic as to whether or not Everton are going to get anybody through the door at all before the deadline is reached on Tuesday night. David even went so far as to say that they need more just to be competitive. Wonder what Evertonians think of that. 03717 223344. Let's find out. Peter, Everton fan, what do you think of that, mate, when you hear across the city Barcola's on his way sooner than later?
It's not great, is it? But I think Liverpool and Everton at the moment are sort of different positions, and they're, as you said earlier on, shopping at Harrods, where shopping, a bit lower and down. But I think what Moyes is doing is being realistic and keeping the fans' expectations where they need to be. I think he's going to identify players he needs or positions he needs to fill, and then it's up to the people above to go out and get them.
Do you think, Peter, he's right to almost undersell the potential comings and goings before the deadline is hit?
Yeah, I do, because Angus Kinnear, I think last week, had an interview with a couple of the fan channels and mentioned, they're looking on getting players in, maybe 3, 4, 5 players. And obviously that got the fans a bit excited, thinking we're getting, a raft of players coming in to boost what we've already got. But the closer it gets to the window, it appears that's not going to happen. And the big one's going to be right back. If we do not get a right back in, the uproar from the fans is going to be, it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a good call, Peter. Thanks for it. Here's Tim, who's a Liverpool fan. Tim, good morning to you. Barcola seemingly on the way, £120 million. But is there a sense of deja vu with Isak and Wirtz in mind?
Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Simon. Thank you for having me on.
Good morning.
Basically, I think it's a great idea getting Barcola with his pace and his quality. That's absolutely superb. My concern is left back Kirkes getting the ball forward to Barcola. We need to feed him. And also on the other side, Robertson to Salah, absolutely superb. We need to be able to play forward from the defence quickly, and we haven't got that capability in defence at the moment, and that concerns me. But I think Barcola's a really good idea, good signing.
Is he going to help you to be there or thereabouts come May with a challenge to Arsenal, Tim?
Yeah, I think so, because if we've got Barcola there and he gets the ball, he can actually get the ball into Isak quite quickly. He's not frightened of running at defenders, and he's got a wicked cross on him, given the opportunity. But that's my concern.
Good call, Tim. Thank you for that. Andy, Liverpool fan, where do you stand in this? In view of the fact that Isak and Wirtz have taken a long time to settle in and maybe haven't done it yet, what you thinking about this potential huge money signing in Barcola?
Well, I have to say, Jim, I'm with Tim on this. So I think Barcola's a good signing. I like the signing, but I'm looking at the way we played last season when everybody expected us to kind of walk the league with all the money we spent last season.
Yeah.
And it looks like even from game one, we've got similar problems. It looks like we need a low-lying midfielder, and it looks like we definitely need to think about right back and left back, because those players just haven't clicked. And then the big money boys, Isak and Wirtz, I mean, for all the money we spent on them, they're just nowhere. So I've got, I'm pleased about Barcola, but I'm wondering why we're chucking 120 million quid in when we've got problems in other areas.
Andy, I can tell you, Simon's sitting here nodding at the point you made.
I tell you one thing I think that will change is Kirkes' performances, because what got Kirkes a move to Liverpool was Areola at Bournemouth, and I think he's now back with his own player. And you'll see the development in that player, and you'll see him suddenly become a far better player. So that might be a raise in that particular situation.
Yes.
I got a lot of faith in Areola. I don't think Liverpool will win the league, but I think there'll be a far better version of the team that we saw last year.
Sure. Thanks for the call, Andy. Let's go back to where Everton may or may not be. Jeff's an Evertonian. Good morning, Jeff. Where do you stand? Where do you stand on this, mate? First off, does it somewhat frustrate you that across the city, Liverpool are about seemingly to land a player worth £120 million?
To be honest with you, I don't really worry about Liverpool. I don't even think about Liverpool, to be honest, because they're playing at a different level, that's all. You know what I mean? As you say, it's just the way it is at the moment, football, the way it's gone. So we don't really entertain Liverpool at all. I'm more concerned about Everton.
Right.
But when I say concerned, to be honest with you, I've been a season ticket for over 45 years. And I just think now, I think Moyes is the right man for the job, and I can't understand all the doom and gloom merchants. At this moment, he's the best man for the job, because I think he knows the club inside out. It doesn't matter how you dress it up. You get Evertonians saying Sean Dyche got this and he done that and he wasn't. We finished 13th and whatever. We're playing a bit better football. The midfield now, we've got a good mixture of youth and experience. He's got a good level. We've got a short on a couple of players that say we definitely need a right back. That's well known and it's been well talked about.
Yeah.
But I honestly feel we're going to get 2 or 3 players in at the end of the window. My concern is keeping hold of him. If we can keep hold of him, great. If we can't, you've got to get the best kind of money we can for him, and we've got to be talking in the 80 million bracket, because that's the way it is at the moment.
Yeah, Jeff. Before you leave us, and I like what you say, and I can tell that you're an Everton fan through and through. What is a good season for Everton, Jeff?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, because obviously, I'd say a decent cup run. But to me, try and get into Europe. I think top 8 finish for us is not out of the question. You know what I mean? And we've got to be knocking at the doors at the cups. But as you say, I mean, we take a lot of banter from Liverpool supporters and whatever, but we're in a different playing field from them at the moment. You know what I mean? Well, we're going to be in. We're never going to be in that playing field now with the top 6 the way all this PSR.
But Jeff, is Moisey right to say we need more to be competitive?
100%. But the thing is, he's damned if he does and he's damned if he doesn't. Because if he turns around and says, oh no, we're really happy with what we've got, we're really, really happy, and we don't get the others in, you're like, well, hang on a minute, he said he was happy. If he says, no, we haven't got enough in, he's only telling the truth.
I like it. Jeff, thank you, mate. Some good points. Thank you so much for the calls. We are off and running. We will be speaking to Alex Crook. So, Liverpool fans, you are going to find out where this situation is at with Bradley Barcola very shortly. It's 10:30 and we're live on a Thursday morning.
Michael, where are you, Isak, at this moment? I just think that particular penalty, Szoboszlai was always taking it, and likes of Isak had far more to lose than he had to gain by taking that penalty. But where are you, Isak, at this moment in time? And he looks to me, he obviously had big injury problems and all that stuff. The move was well documented. You know, Newcastle fans are unhappy. What's it going to take for him to get playing with a regular confidence and show the ability that we know he has?
Well, I'm not sure about you, Ali, but I had plenty of injuries in my career, so I know how hard it is to get back, and you do need a bit of time. And everybody's given him time and understood that, but then he's sort of finished the season, then he's gone to the World Cup, and now he's had a pre-season, and you just think, okay, now we're starting to run out of excuses. We need to start seeing the real Isak, and we know how good he is. I mean, wow, we saw him for Newcastle. I mean, he's absolute class. But we haven't seen it for Liverpool just yet, and I think, you know, questions will come now. As I say, always give him the benefit of the doubt in the past with Liverpool, but at the start of this season now we're expecting, and Liverpool absolutely need him. They've lost Salah, Ekitike's out, there's not that many options in attacking areas. They absolutely need him to be on top form. Yesterday he was far from it. I thought he was a yard off, and that's worrying. But so was Wirtz. I thought he was really quiet as well. So, you know, it wasn't the greatest performance for Liverpool. They actually did well to scrounge a point in the end. But obviously he's the big money signing. He's headline maker. And I can't say he played well, because he really didn't.
talkSPORT News.
Good morning. With your headlines, I'm Sinead Garvan. 33 British tourists among 1,500 people missing after flash floods in Nepal. At least 270 are now confirmed dead. Whole villages were washed away as a wall of water and mud came down from the mountains. Cabinet Minister Pat McFadden says the UK will be offering financial help.
I think that's likely that we support the effort. It's in every country's interest to do this. There's been a number of international offers to the Nepalese government in the last few days, and of course the UK will play its part in that.
The scientists think a collapsed glacier is the cause of the floods. Inquests have opened today into the deaths of the 7 people killed in the head-on collision on the A66. 2 police officers were hit by another car travelling the wrong way on the dual carriageway on Saturday. It's as detectives are refusing to rule out a connection with a house fire that killed an auntie and her niece yesterday. Some newly qualified nurses are stacking supermarket shelves because they say they can't get NHS jobs. A third of entry-level posts advertised demand experience, which new graduates don't have. And figures measuring the number of young people out of school or work have fallen after going over 1 million earlier this year. The so-called NEETs, who are 16 to 24 years old, are down by 30,000, but the total remains higher than last year.
talkSPORT Sports Headlines with Bostik. For workable, easy-to-apply mortar that tools easily, pros trust Bostik.
We're told Liverpool have agreed a deal for PSG's Bradley Barcola, and Nottingham Forest confirmed the signing of Liam Delap for $50 million. Nick's got more at 11.
Are we looking at the future of this sport?
Try and pick up a bell. Try and pick up a few bells, eh?
I'll throw him out of the ring.
Thursday morning, pretty wet in this part of the world. Hope it's better wherever you're listening all around the UK and beyond. Jim White, Simon Jordan, live on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade goes. We will be going back into the transfer market in terms of conversation with Alex Crook very shortly. Alex will join us live in a few minutes from now. Simon, I want to talk about two specific clubs. One, League One Leicester. Two, Championship club Sheffield United. The prospective buyers of Leicester City have been given until Monday, September the 14th, to submit offers for the club.
Yeah.
The club package, we understand, has been valued at more than £200 million, although that valuation does not factor in inherited debt liability. Now, prospective investors, potential buyers, have been provided with information covering the men's and women's teams, Academy, King Power Stadium, training grounds, and they'll even throw in the Belgian club OH Leuven. Neil Lal, the Scottish Indian businessman and president of the Indian Council of the United Kingdom, is said to be one of those leading a consortium in talks over a takeover. On Leicester, specifically, would you be crazy to pay £200 million for a League One club like Leicester at this particular time? Where is the value there?
Well, the value is that the club has got a good infrastructure. It's been badly run on the field for a couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years. Made bad decisions, and the ownership has run out of runway or engagement or money or whatever. I doubt they've run out of money, but the appetite to continue bankrolling. So I can't see. I mean, when we were looking at Sheffield Wednesday, and the idea that they were in League One and the value of these clubs, and I think I said it in one of these shows. You got Montreal Impact in America. That's a tiny little franchise in an insignificant league that's worth $500 million according to Forbes. And you've got Sheffield Wednesday, an iconic football club over the years. It's an absolute liability that people wouldn't want to take on for 10 million quid or 20 million quid, which is what it ended up being, which is what I said it should be in the outset. And the whole thing played out the way I said it should have done, which is Chansiri didn't get his 25p in a pound, and all these sort of things were done. And the club came out the other side without all the sanctions they shouldn't have put on them.
Yeah.
Anyway, to go to your question, no, it's difficult to work out why anyone would want to pay 200 million for Leicester. Yes, they will have a shiny new training ground. Yes, they've got a great stadium at the King Power. But these are only valuable in conjunction with the football club. They're not valuable as real estate items in terms of being able to do very much with them. You're not going to build high-rise flats or residential stuff on a training ground, are you? It's producing football players. And it depends who wants the football club, what their motivations are, because if you pay 200, if indeed that's what you end up doing, I'm assuming it must be net of the debt, i.e. the debt comes off the top. It must be. You can't be paying £200 million plus whatever debt there is as well.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, the purchase price might be much lower and the debt gets factored in. You carry the debt, but I still wouldn't want that.
No.
And Leicester, isn't a football club that feels. I know they were the Premier League champions 10 years ago, and I know that can't be diminished. And yes, they won the League Cup with Martin O'Neill, but they've always been a sort of club that's on the periphery of significance in terms of people's minds outside. I mean, when they won the Premier League in America, they were calling it Leicester City, weren't they?
Yes.
In terms of how Leicester City have won the league.
Yeah.
So I would be amazed if someone's prepared to pay £200 million for. I mean, all the League One clubs will be rubbing their hands in terms of the inherent valuation of their clubs, because if someone's prepared to pay £200 million for Leicester, which looks like it belongs in a body bag right now in terms of its performance on the field, and the direction of travel for it from a Premier League club down to the League One club, and all that's gone on in terms of battles with the authorities about how they manage their finances and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So, but when
they're winless so far as well, so it might end up a League Two club.
That's a moment in time. They'll catch their breath and they'll probably be fine. but they have got a long way back to being worth anything. So that means a £200 million purchase. We looked at it with Sheffield Wednesday, and I said to Ryan, my partner in this transaction with Sheffield Wednesday, we've got to be prepared to spend 250 million quid to get this club close to being a Premier League football club, from rebuilding what's there in a stadium. They don't have some of these challenges that Sheffield would have had. The stadium's in perfectly good nick. The infrastructure's there. Sheffield Wednesday was a massively under-invested club that couldn't even paint its doors. Leicester's not in that situation. They've just got a bad football team on the field. So it wouldn't take much to correct it and get it going the right way, because all the infrastructure's there.
What will somebody end up paying for it?
I don't know. I mean, look, what they're prepared to. Yeah. I mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? Yeah. So what you're prepared to pay is what you're prepared to pay. But it would seem to me like an inordinate amount of money gives you a £500 million headache, because to be in a situation where you really are going to be... I mean, look at what some of these guys have spent. Look what Lansdowne spent at Bristol City.
Bristol City.
I spent hundreds of millions of pounds. Yeah. And look what they haven't achieved. Yeah. They can't get into the Premier League. And they've got a club that's, almost like it's not quite, because Bristol Rovers are in the town, but they've got a one-city club in terms of Bristol with large catchment areas. And they can't get there. So there's no given that Leicester will. Right. So I think for a League One club...
So much for Leicester.
50 million quid best for a sub-club like Leicester.
50 million?
And even then I'd be bleeding out my eyes to do it.
So much for Leicester. You mentioned Sheffield Wednesday. Across the city, Sheffield United. Sheffield United's new owners lost their High Court hearing, but should it constitute a 12-point deduction for the club? Now, Simon, bear with me on this, because last week, talkSPORT Bidco, the company used by the owner Steve Rosen and Helmi El-Kuti to buy Sheffield United, was wound up by the High Court. The company agreed to buy Sheffield United for just over £100 million in December 2024, but around £35 million remains unpaid to former owners United World in the person of Prince Abdullah.
Yeah.
So the major complication here is that in June this year, Rosen and El-Tudi transferred Sheffield United shares out of talkSPORT Bidco and into US-based 1919 Partners LLC. It's understood that neither the EFL or the Independent Football Regulator were told in advance that the share transfer was going to happen. So I can add a bit more to this. I mean, the question for the EFL is whether or not the owners can move a football club to a new company while leaving the debt used to buy it in a company that is liquidated. What we know is this, and I can add a bit to this. The figure currently outstanding that is owed to Prince Abdullah and his company without interest is £36 million. It's also understood that there had been previous late payments to buy the football club. One instalment, around £10 million, was paid 6 weeks late. The current owners, according to sources close to Prince Abdullah, say the current owners, Rosen and El-Tudi, are no longer remaining in contact regarding the outstanding payments for the football club.
Yeah. More fool the sellers for not getting themselves in security when they gave people deferred consideration. That's their fault.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you give somebody the ability to pay on the drip, you better make sure that they're able to. Right? With due respect, this isn't insignificant amounts of money. Why wouldn't you have some collateralization behind this to protect it? You gave somebody credit. You didn't know they could meet their obligations. If you give somebody credit in football, it's secured by the football creditor policy. If you give people credit in life because you retain title of goods, right? I.e., if somebody goes and sells me something, then they retain some degree of security around it. Yeah. Now, in this instance, I would have thought that there would be some positioning of some degree of, it was like back in the day when ITV Digital did a deal for the TV rights. And those idiots like Keith Harris that were running the Football League decided to take no parent company guarantees for a company that had no value, liquidated, and everybody got it up the backside. All the 72 football clubs they're supposed to represent. Yeah. Bad management. Yeah. Now, I know it's easier said than done, but you're in a discussion to sell something of that meaning, you should find some mechanism to protect yourself. That being said, they didn't. So here we are now. Is it a football debt? I mean, the interesting thing for me is when you buy a football club, there's something called the league share, which is transferred to the company that owns the football club. And so that league share should be granted. When I bought Palace in 2000, Crystal Palace 2000 was the vehicle that I used. The league share was granted to me by the EFL in Crystal Palace 2000. So if I ported my inherent value out of Crystal Palace 2000 into another vehicle to avoid other things or to change the direction of travel, it would have meant that the league share would have had to have been given to me to go to another vehicle by the league. Otherwise, the vehicle that was owning the football club would have no right to play in the league. because the league share goes with the territory.
Right.
So I don't understand how they've been able to achieve this.
But how much of a problem is this for Sheffield United? And how worried should the fans be? Because, am I right, the EFL have now got to decide whether or not this constitutes an insolvency event. And if they do, that could carry a 12-point deduction.
But it doesn't constitute an insolvency event. It might constitute a commercial dispute and a restructuring of payments and a new deal. I mean, if you're meeting your football debts, and it'd be interesting to see if they categorise this as a football debt. I don't think they probably do. Football debts, football creditors will be defined in a certain way. And so it may well be that they don't have the reach and this threat that Prince Abdullah would like them to have. He doesn't want to see Sheffield United penalised, but he doesn't want to not get paid.
Right.
So his leverage is to insist that the IFR or the Football League find some mechanism to put Sheffield United on notice that if there isn't a reaction to the commercial obligations that they have, that there'll be a consequence to the club, and then that consequence to the club will be meted out to the fans. The fans will leverage the ownership, boycott the ownership, start throwing tennis balls on the pitch and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And you might find that that's the leverage that they've got. I'm not sure they've got that.
I think you've read the situation perfectly here, because my understanding is that as long as there's a 12-point deduction threat hanging over this situation,
that's the leverage.
It might push Rosen and El Touquet to come up with the money that Prince Abdullah's owned.
But here's the thing: if they haven't got it, they can't. So the situation is very simple. If they got the money to do it, and if they haven't got the money to do it, you're barking at the moon. Now, if they had any doubt in their minds that the case against them had any validity, they would do what I've done on previous court cases, which is get a strikeout. And in English law, you're said that every Englishman has his day for his day in court, right? That's not true. If you've got no case, you can do something called a strikeout, which means before you even get to go to court, you have a pre-hearing on the value of your case, and out it goes.
Right.
So the fact they didn't do a strikeout means that there was a distinct possibility they knew they were going to lose this case, and the case has subsequently been lost. So the debt has been validated. But if they can't pay it, if they haven't got the means to pay it, it might not be that they won't pay it. It might be that they can't pay it. And if they can't pay it, in terms of meeting the commercial obligations for the purchase of the football club, can they meet their obligations? Does one necessarily constitute a circumstance for the other? Does not being able to pay a commercial debt mean you can't run the football club and meet your football creditors?
No.
Or does paying that debt put you in a position where you can't meet your obligations to meet the football creditors?
Sure.
On a daily basis, which then means you're in administration, or the IFR comes in and starts sanctioning you.
It's said that the whole situation at Sheffield United doesn't affect day-to-day operations. But at some stage further down the line, it might.
Well, it's interesting to see. What the previous owner's enforceability is. His enforceability is to enforce a legitimate debt. So he must be able to go after them in other ways.
Right.
So
Okay.
he must be after. The fact he's got no security or anything else means that he potentially can't do that, and he may well have an issue because he doesn't want to pursue them across continents.
Right.
Because it's one thing getting a judgment in the UK; it's another thing carrying that across with all the edicts of different countries and then enforcing it in America where they might be domiciled.
Sure. Okay.
But that might be his next course of action.
What it does mean is we're duty bound to keep in touch with the previous owner, Prince Abdullah, and try and track down the current owners, and we'll see where that goes. We're live in talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes.
Gabby!
Jamie, what you on about,
the Villa.
You're just jealous, mate. I've been
Jamie,
hearing you all day.
what are you on about?
You're talking guff, mate. Just because you're jealous.
What are you on about?
You're jealous.
How can you finish 17 2 years in a row and spend half a bill?
Because we've got the cash, Gabs.
Yeah, but that ain't fair, mate.
See? Jealous.
It ain't fair, Cundy.
No, I agree. Do you know what? I agree with Gabby on this. I totally agree with him.
No.
This has got no. I'm not.
Win the Europa League,
I'm not picking.
and we can't flipping spend.
I'm not picking sides. I'm telling you now. Villa and Newcastle should be able to spend.
Cry me a river.
No, 100.
Cry me a river.
Jay, listen.
Thank you, Cundy.
I totally agree with him.
Gabs?
Totally agree with him.
Stop crying, mate.
Jamie.
Stop crying,
Totally
mate.
agree with him.
Stop crying.
Jamie.
Gabs.
You're signing rejects from Manchester City.
Good
Marmouche
players,
is
mate.
unwanted. Savino's a reject. Robertson's a reject from Liverpool, not wanted anymore. Conor Gallagher's a reject from Atletico Madrid. Spurs are signing rejects.
Hold on a minute. You sold 5 of your best players All right, you're absolute
Because
guff
of the
this
rules?
season. Oh, the
Because of the
rules!
rules?
Oh, the rules! I thought you was a big
The
club.
rules?
I thought you was a big club.
Well, we are a big club, but
you're
the
not,
rules
though.
don't let us.
You're not, though.
Because you
Can't
and
spend any
your
money.
cartel, top six, you and Cundy, don't want Villa in there.
Don't bring me into this. I've got nothing to do with this, Gabby.
Mate, keep you out of it. Only big boys allowed in the top six, mate. You're not big. You have to sell your best players. We
How
don't
can
have
you
to sell our
finish
best players.
17th, right, and go and spend £500 million.
Because we're a big club, Gabs. Stop whinging.
What the hell is going on? This is literally Premier League football drama at its absolute best.
Oh
my Gabriel!
I can't watch this. Definitely saw it next.
Messi!
No.
Yes! Come on! Get in it!
What was that?
You see this crap every single game in the Premier League.
Oh, this is
No goal.
That was embarrassing.
Thursday morning, Jim White, Simon Jordan, live in talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. Real deals, real deals. Is Bradley Barcola to Liverpool going to prove to be the real deal? Alex Crook, talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, will tell us more on that. Alex, good morning. Really hotting up now, isn't it? Tell me about Barcola.
Good morning, Jim. Yeah, it's been quite a frantic 24 hours. We sort of expected this heading into the final week of the window. Bradley Barcola, a player that Liverpool have been chasing all summer long. I've been saying on talkSPORT for a while now, I thought this deal would get done late in the window, and so it seems an agreement in principle between Liverpool and the Champions League holders of the last two seasons. £100 million up front, rising to a possible £120 million with add-ons. Now, it's important to stress this deal is not 100% confirmed. In fact, I think Barcola is training as usual with PSG today, but there's an optimism now it can get done. And I think Liverpool reaping the rewards for playing a game of patience, because at one stage this summer, when they first inquired about Barcola, the asking price they got back from PSG was 145 million. The fact they're going to get it done for less than the 125 they paid this time last year for Alexander Isak, I think they see as a victory.
That's not bad work in Liverpool's part, as Alex rightly says. So Nasser, your friend and mine, they've gone from 145 million valuation to where we're at now. Maybe a package of 120.
Valuation based upon what? Based upon an ask. I mean, what you are. So in this world, you just ask for something and you get it, do you?
Well, they've seemingly knocked £25 million off it.
Sure, but yeah, everybody knows there's fat in it, don't they? Everybody knows that they're in a deal that people don't go with their worst price first, do they? I really don't want a certain figure, so I'll ask for less so I can get less. You ask for more, so you can end up getting a deal somewhere close to what you're prepared to accept.
Right. Is that what you used to do?
Well, no, but follow the logic of it.
No, I know what you're saying.
If you're prepared to accept 120 million, you don't ask for 120 million because you know the saucy bug on the other end of the phone is going to offer you 100, right? So if you want 120 at the end of the day, however you get there, you're going to ask for 150 and horse trade yourself down and be magnanimous and look like you're doing everybody a favour.
He's in the mood this morning, Alex. Emiliano Martinez to Chelsea. Is this on?
I think it could be. And this is a real pivot from Chelsea, because we've been being told all summer from sources there that they weren't looking for a new goalkeeper. They've got a lot of faith in Robert Sanchez. That faith seemed to diminish with probably 2 high-profile mistakes in that game live on talkSPORT on Monday, maybe at fault for both of Fulham's goals. Certainly the first one, the second one he's pushed out into a dangerous area, and they've ended up conceding again. We know that Martinez wants out of Aston Villa. That's been a pretty open secret. His dad was touting him around for Juventus at the World Cup. Didn't happen. Villa have got a new number 1 in Zion Suzuki. So, yes, I think there's every chance this could happen. The fee being talked about is around the £10 million mark. And I think Martinez is an upgrade on Robert Sanchez, even though I would say I think his best days, Martinez, are probably behind him than in front of him.
Okay. Where is Jack Grealish going?
Everton, I think, Jim. There's been some interest from Sunderland.
Yeah,
although Manchester City telling me that hasn't gone as far as any formal contact. Aston Villa, I think, have made Grealish an offer to go back to his boyhood club, but he had a brilliant relationship with David Moyes last season. He did well for Everton before he got injured. So if he goes anywhere in the final days of the window, I think a return to Merseyside is most likely.
What about Julian Alvarez? There seems to be a story about him every hour, on the hour. Is he going to end up at Arsenal?
I think this is very much in the saga bracket, isn't it, when it comes to Julian Alvarez? He still wants Barcelona. Atletico Madrid have made it pretty clear they're not willing to sanction that under any circumstances. It does bring Arsenal back into play, and he's got that relationship that we're talking about, or we have been talking about, with Andrea Berta, the sporting director. I'd say there's a slender chance at this moment in time. Doesn't mean that Arsenal look elsewhere, because obviously Trossard is gone, Martinelli is off to Saudi Arabia. I do think they could do with another body in their attack just to really supplement that squad.
Okay, what about Nicholas Jackson? He's coming back into the frame, or is he?
He is, yeah, just trying to get confirmation, but there is a suggestion he's having a medical at Aston Villa today. There is a loose agreement in place between the two clubs for a £65 million transfer. I think he's still to fully agree personal terms, but this will be the Ollie Watkins replacement. Watkins off to Al Hilal over in Saudi as well, so they're taking plenty of players from the Premier League this summer, with Simon Francis, once of Bournemouth, now in charge of the transfers over in the Middle East. And another one to keep an eye on, Jim, we broke this exclusively last night and just had it confirmed as well. Iliman Ndiaye potentially from Everton to Manchester City. Everton would want a significant transfer fee in excess of 80 million. But I've talked about discussions between Everton and City for Jack Grealish. So you wonder if there's a deal to be done here with Grealish going to Everton and Ndiaye coming the other way.
Wow. And that Everton fan who was on at the top of the show was saying that that's the one that he hopes doesn't happen, and that Ndiaye stays at the football club. Ipswich doing a deal this morning, or are they?
Tammy Abraham potentially on loan from Villa to Ipswich. There seems to be a bit of confidence down in Suffolk that this one will get done. He's never really fitted in, has he, under Unai Emery? Never really been a regular in the first team. And if they get Nicholas Jackson, you'd have thought his chances will be limited again. The other one that is still going on in the background, by the way, Villa related, is Rafael Leao at Milan. They've got an agreement club to club for a loan deal initially with an obligation to buy. So have Galatasaray. I was told this morning Galatasaray willing to pay Rafael Leao 250 grand a week. So although Villa, I think, would be his preferred option, that's a lot of money to turn down.
Let's finish, Alex, with Simon's old club, Crystal Palace. The manager's been talking about Jean-Philippe Mateta, Pierre Sage, saying that there's more than a good chance that Mateta stays.
I speak with him every day, and in front of me I have a guy funny, happy to be here. He gives his best in every session. I didn't see a player who has problem with the club or with us. That's why he played the last game as a starter. You imagine if we have a problem with him, he will not play as a starter. Yeah, I think he will stay. And like I told you, he has the behavior of someone who is happy to be here, want to be here, and prepared to be here all the season. That's why I understand your question, but I have no doubt about that.
There have been arguments, Alex, about the final year of his contract, but Saj is saying there, no, he's happy to be at Palace.
Yeah, I think this is a classic example of where a player maybe has been badly advised by his agent, because from what I'm told, speaking to people at Palace, there's no issue, as the manager has said there, between Mateta and the hierarchy. It's very much agent-driven. the two complaints he made, one to the Premier League, one to FIFA to try and claim the last year of his contract was invalid. It's my understanding he lost on both counts. The fact he played at the weekend tells you the manager is happy with him, and I wonder if he might look to seek new advice as we move on, because of course he tried to force his way out to join Milan in January. That didn't happen, and it looks like he's going to stay at least until the end of his Crystal Palace contract.
Alex, thank you very much indeed. What you
well, I just think it's absolute, it's absolute balderdash, because the agent doesn't work independent of the player, does he?
Mm.
The agent works for the player. So the agent hasn't run off on a wild goose chase and not kept his player informed of, I'm going to just fly this kite without any information relating to you. I'm not going to keep you in the loop. The player will be fully abreast of what's going on.
Yeah.
The agent's been sanctioned to go and make these decisions and trying to create outcomes. Now, they might have been flying a kite to create an outcome, but the player would have been complicit in that, and he may well be happy to stay there and run his contract down and get a free transfer.
Sure. Okay, Alex, thank you for that. Just a reminder, Alex will be with me and Ben Jacobs on Tuesday night while Simon's sitting poolside somewhere fancy. And we will take you through the deadline itself. So Alex Crook, myself and Ben Jacobs, live on talkSPORT Tuesday night, on air from 10 p.m. right through the 11 p.m. deadline. And thereafter, we will bring you right up to date with who has gone where. I know where you will be.
Not listening to that.
Yes, you will. I'll be messaging you, irritating you on Tuesday night. It's 11 o'clock on Thursday morning.
They were set a target by Celtic. That win should have been enough. And I know personally my football club has lost a 4-goal lead in the first leg before. So it can happen, and you really build yourself up. If you think you can do it, you get yourself there. And Lask have obviously had those meetings, done that work, done those trainings, and they've got themselves a victory in the tie and gone through. I think what this says about Scottish football is really important. And let's face some facts here. Celtic are below the New Saints of Wales, Shelbourne of Ireland. They're behind La Fiorita of San Marino in the rankings in Europe. The Austrian League is ranked below the Scottish League, and yet Lask have just beaten Celtic. And Lask have got no real European pedigree or history of success. So how has this happened? I think you've just got to go back to the end of last season. Scottish football is eating itself. Every season it happens, and last season it happened worse than ever. Hearts showed some smart thinking, some common sense to build, to do something a bit special, to do something unheard of. And what happened was Celtic panicked, took a huge step backwards by appointing Martin O'Neill, no disrespect. And yes, they won the title, they won the cup and all that, but at what cost? At what cost? I look at Rangers took the Hearts captain and top scorer Shankland. They're wasting his talent at Ibrox. Rangers have had a European mayor. Hearts collapsed out of the Champions League before the end of July. Celtic an embarrassment. I think the clubs in Scotland need to take more responsibility, work together to save the future of Scottish football, to save themselves and the Scottish national team as well.
talkSPORT Sports Update with NordVPN. Avoid scams, phishing and malware with our most advanced VPN. Now with built-in next-gen antivirus.
With your headlines, are just coming up to 4 minutes past 11. I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. PSG's Bradley Barcola could become Liverpool's second most expensive signing. talkSPORT's chief football correspondent is Alex Crook.
It's my understanding that Liverpool have an agreement in place now for a guaranteed 100 million, could rise to as high as 120 with add-ons.
We think Liverpool want another wide forward in before they let Cody Gakpo leave. Spurs are keen. Meanwhile, we understand Omar Marmoush has signed his Spurs contract. He's expected to cost 60 million from Man City. Former Spurs and Egypt striker Mido told us it's a great move for both Marmoush and Spurs.
They need this quality of player. He will give De Zerbi a different option up front, because Omar can play as a striker and he can play as a left winger as well.
Now we're told if Jack Grealish leaves Man City, he'd prefer a loan to Everton. Villa had also made an offer. Nottingham Forest have confirmed the signing of Liam Delap from Chelsea. That's for 50 million. Hull fans, Union Berlin striker Ilias Ansas having his medical today. Ipswich are exploring a loan deal for Villa striker Tammy Abraham. All the latest transfer news at talksport.com. And over at Lords, the toss has been delayed by rain ahead of the second test with Pakistan. Are we getting any play today, Sam Millard?
Yes, we will do. It's dry at the moment. It's stopped raining and the covers are off. And we do have a pitch inspection at 11:10, so in 5 minutes or so. And if the rain stays away, my guess would be maybe the toss at 11:30 would play starting at around midday. Dry at the moment. England 1-0 up in the series. That pitch inspection coming up in 5 or so minutes' time, Nick.
Thank you, Sam. Overseas listeners can get ball-by-ball coverage when it gets going on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube.
talkSPORT News.
2 teenagers are among the British tourists missing after flash flooding in Nepal as the death toll rises to 270. And the number of asylum seekers in hotels is down 50% year on year. Sinead has more in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. With over 400 EV-ready centres across the UK, we're top of the league for electric car owners. Visit quickfit.com and book today.
Across England and Wales, sunny spells and thunderstorms moving slowly north. Sunnier skies following from the southeast. Scotland and Northern Ireland seeing bright spells with scattered showers.
What the hell is going on? This is literally Premier League football drama at its absolute best. Oh my, Gabriel!
I can't watch this. He's definitely saw it next.
Messi!
No!
Guys, come on! Get in it!
What was that?
You see this crap every single game in the Premier League.
Oh, this is...
No goal.
That was embarrassing.
Good morning, everybody. 7 minutes past 11 o'clock. It's Jim White and Simon Jordan. We are live on talkSPORT. Thanks to all of you who now watch the show on a regular basis, and so many of you do it. It is terrific news for us. The figures came through the other day. You can watch us live. Wherever you want to see the show, you can see it virtually on Samsung TV Plus, on Prime Video. We are live on YouTube every morning, and that figure is growing, so I'm thrilled about that. Thank you so much to all of you who watch and listen at the same time. That's what we're all about. We're all about bringing big names to air. Later on this morning, going to be hearing from former US goalkeeper Brad Friedel, who joined us, Simon, over in the US and was a real hit.
Oh, good. Nice to see you. I like Brad.
Yeah, he's a good lad. No doubt. We'll get onto the subject, not so much of Liverpool, he played for Liverpool, but certainly Tottenham and what he thinks of the business that Tottenham Hotspur have done in this transfer window thus far, and it's not over yet. But Brad Friedel will be stopping by to speak to us from where, Luke? Where is he? He's not coming in. He's over. He's in the Bahamas. How do you like that? He's in the Bahamas.
In his flip-flops, as he regularly told us.
Yeah,
nice life, huh?
Good old Brad. And of course, from 12 o'clock, we're going to talk boxing. Itoma against Hergovic this weekend at the O2 here in London. And also, yeah, you got it, the topic that never goes away, AJ Fury. And where is it going to be? Anyway, we'll hear from Frank Warren, amongst others, on that. Simon, on this, UEFA and FIFA, when it comes to FIFA, we talk invariably about Gianni Infantino. He's still there. UEFA is set to lift its threat to boycott FIFA competitions after securing key concessions, as I understand it, that it demanded over Infantino's plans to sell stakes in major competitions to private investors. So what have they got, UEFA, that's persuaded them to calm down a bit? UEFA had threatened to withdraw European teams from FIFA tournaments unless 2 conditions were met. That FIFA had to abandon the proposed sell-off, which it did at the end of July, and that UEFA wanted guarantees that such attempts to disfigure the game in this way will never be made again. Have they gone far enough, should there not have been a third stipulation in that? Oh yeah, and we want Infantino to stand down as of now.
No, but they're making those noises repeatedly, endlessly, aren't they? I mean, the bottom line is you can't make it contingent upon the president of FIFA stepping down because the other federations, because you don't really want to take European teams out of the World Cup. The European federations don't really want to be out of the World Cup. They wanted to use it as, and let's not lose our sight over UEFA and how wonderful they are, because they're not a wonderful organisation. Some of the things that FIFA have done, they've done previously. When we talk about the idea that Infantino has decided that he wants to stay for another term, albeit the Constitution doesn't allow for that, but he changed the rules and decided that the 2016 election wasn't, or he's taken over in 2016 didn't count. Well, Ceferin did the same thing. They changed the rules to allow him to have another term. The fact that he's now read the room and decided that not necessarily going to be the case doesn't devalue the premise of they do the same things.
Yeah,
they wanted to deny when this company that wanted to challenge the orthodoxy of the Champions League and wanted to produce this new outcome for the Super League and then this other versions of it, they tried to block them because they don't want anyone challenging the authority. They want to have a monopoly. They want to have control and they want to have it in an untransparent way. So let's not lose sight of the fact that UEFA aren't necessarily the good guys in it. You know, Ceferin gets paid £3.5 million a year to look after UEFA. So it's a cash cow for him too. Well, so with that in mind, what they wanted to do, they want to have this battle with UEFA. You know, the Somalian referee that wasn't allowed in the country in the US, in America, that FIFA allowed not to be allowed in, didn't have a fight with Trump about it. They immediately appointed him to a game. No need for it, but they did it.
Yeah, but that was brilliant point scoring by UEFA and Ceferin.
Is that what it's about then? Point scoring. Is that what we're condoning? Is that what we're saying is good? I'll go and score some points. You bad guy, we good guy.
Yeah, but FIFA gave an enormous amount of bad publicity for shutting that guy out of the US.
The
young Somali.
I hear you.
Ceferin was quite right to make a move.
No, but he
said, well, if you don't use him, we will.
Point scoring. There was no necessity for it. He did it to make a deliberate point. And if that referee was going to be awarded that game irrespective of that, then fantastic. Why didn't you award it to him before? You only awarded to him to make a point at FIFA's expense. So with that in mind, you can say that's good, and I don't think it is. Right? I'm not a great admirer of Ceferin.
Yeah, but on that one, Ceferin wanted to be seen to do the right thing, whereas Infantino and FIFA had done the wrong thing.
He wasn't going to appoint the guy for a game. If the guy was such a good referee, why wasn't he going to be appointed for that game in the first place? The only reason he was appointed for that game was to make points. And if you want people to run around making points as a methodology you think is effective, then fine, that's your view. It's not mine.
Right.
Now, as far as what they should and could do, the European federations didn't really want to be out of the World Cup. They wanted the outrage that was confected to some extent because he couldn't get this through. The motivations for him doing it are flawed. The attitude that he got in the manner in which he did it, and leaders lead sometimes, and they're autocratic. And at the end of the day, people have to make decisions. But the constitution of FIFA is what should be evaluated. That put him in a position where he felt he was that powerful that he could do it, but he could never have got it through. Because if the other countries didn't want it, it wasn't a case of I'm doing it irrespective of what the vote said. He said, this is what I want to do. This is the direction I want to take us in. I'm putting it to a vote. You've got till XYZ day, and I'm going to give you all some commercial incentives to do it. And if people didn't want to do it, then he couldn't have done it. So this hysteria that gets whipped up, the thinking behind it is flawed. The thinking behind the autonomy that he thinks he's got is a creation of FIFA that will not change when the next leadership comes in. Unless you change the system, it'll keep on producing leaders like Infantino, like Blatter, right? So with that in mind, and like Ceferin as well. So with that in mind, the hysteria about what he was attempting to do, it was elevated because it was the morality argument rather than the reality argument. He couldn't do it.
No, but you were against what Infantino and FIFA were wanting to do.
Of course.
So let's make no bones about that.
I was, but
it was wrong. It was never going to happen. It should never have happened.
But it couldn't have happened unless the federations voted for it.
Well, the result is, and you talk about Ceferin, Alexander Ceferin, who, for those who don't know, is UEFA president, he says Infantino has now lost the support of the majority of the football world and should step down. Have a listen to Ceferin, Simon. He spoke to your chum and mine, Alistair Campbell, on the rest is politics.
Two options. One option is that he realizes that he doesn't have the support. And that's not only a political support of the ones who vote, but the political support of football community, the political support of fans, the political support of the players, former players, coaches. And the second option is that he goes to the elections in March. But in that case, I think he will have a candidate against him. I don't know yet who. The most important thing is that we stopped another try to sell the sport. I mean, it's hard to imagine what kind of people would sell. The governance at FIFA on paper is clear. FIFA Council decides the main things, FIFA Congress decides, and things like that President cannot decide by himself. We have bad experience with this organization for 100 years already. All the time there are some problems, there are some controversies, there are some people who feel like
That was Seferin speaking to Alistair Campbell, and the rest is politics. I mean, this bad vibe that UEFA gets from FIFA seems to have gone on for a long time. And I think Seferin's saying, like, let's bring this right up to date now. Things have got to change. Infantino's got to get out of
According to
there.
him, right? And the version that he put forward as he's not in a position to determine what people's reaction to Infantino will be in the long time. He can stoke the fire and fuel the flames and confect the outrage and keep the outrage. But there are lots of people that don't think that. Samuel Eto'o being case in point, and it may well be because they're incentivized, because certain countries are going to get little handshakes that created an opportunity for them to want to see Infantino's plan be more successful.
It's alleged.
Because they saw, well, no. There was money being offered by Infantino as an incentive for the federations that would mean something to. You offer the English FA 40 million quid, and they're going to go, and yeah, what? You offer the Cameroonian FA 40 million quid, it's meaningful. So it becomes an inducement, but it's a legitimate inducement. Now, the second part of the conversation is where you should be actually looking at is, he should step down, right? Well, he ain't gonna, right? So, and if he doesn't step down, someone will stand against him. Well, that's what should happen. So why is that some sort of revelation? Dung, 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 dung. If presidential election comes up, someone's going to stand against. Why don't you stand for it then? Why don't you stand for it? Your term comes up. You try to concoct a situation where you could stay on longer.
Well, he's confirmed he doesn't want it. He's not going
Why
to.
not? He's a vice president of FIFA. As a result of being UEFA's president, he's a vice president of FIFA. Why don't he stand for it if he's got such a world view of the game and such a focus on how the game should be run? Why don't you stand for it then, mate? Rather than sitting there making observations about other people. Look, I don't like what Infantino did, and he got stopped.
Yeah.
But this outrage about, look, it's a style. Some leaders are stronger in making decisions, and you can get yourself immersed in councils and cooperatives, and you can get paralysis by analysis and never make a decision. His style is wrong given the nature of the constitution that he's supposed to represent, which means that he cannot just have an idea and decide he's going to do it. He needs to get buy-in from the council members around him.
Yeah.
But that's a process. Now, he can't deliver an outcome without the due process. He can fast track his way around saying, I don't want to sit in a bunch of meetings with a bunch of people that are going to bore the pants off me. I'm going to make a decision because I'm a leader. Right? That's a criticism that he'll have to live with, because he can't do that because the constitution of the environment he works in doesn't allow him to do it. But he did.
Right.
But he can't sell it unless the other federations, the 211 federations around the world, vote for it. So all of this jumping up and down like Tasmanian devils, virtue signalling to the world about how awful it was, it couldn't get done unless people voted for it.
So is that why they've taken the threat to boycott FIFA competitions off the table? Because in some ways, by doing that, they've weakened their own position.
But it's I'll use a different word. It's rubbish, right? Because it wasn't. If Infantino couldn't sell it, it's a moot threat. Because the big thing is don't do it. Well, I can't do it without your votes. But don't propose it. But I have proposed it. But don't do it again. Or I won't then. Right? That's it then. So why would you be taking international teams? The international federations are not going to have Seferin turn around to them and say you can't compete in the World Cup because he says so.
Well, you never know. They want him gone.
No,
they want it. Many of these federations want Infantino out of there.
They may well do,
and they've listened to Seferin on this.
But they may well do, right? But also by the same token, you talk about RFA. I mean, RFA are clueless. RFA were trying to sell Wembley Stadium. I mean, how good's that?
Yeah.
You build a stadium with taxpayers 3 or 4 years ago. They're trying to sell Wembley Stadium to an American, Shad Khan.
Right.
And only because of popular
How long ago
backlash.
was it? 10 years ago?
No, it was about 4 years ago.
You're right up to date.
It was about 4 years ago, because I remember when it was.
Oh, do you?
So, because it was just post-COVID, because they were running out of money and they had to lay people off and God knows whatever else.
Right.
So rather than actually do something constructive, they want to sell a national asset off.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at that. Look at what we do to some extent. But Infantino's crime was a process. And yes, I do believe that he believes, we said it and discussed it, that he's a head of a nation state. I do believe that people in football get drunk on power.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Blatter, Platini, Seferin, they all get carried away with their own importance.
Yeah, but particularly Infantino.
Because Infantino occupies the most powerful position. So by definition, absolute power can corrupt absolutely.
Yeah.
I hear that argument.
This proposed sell-off, was this the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of Infantino could not survive after that?
Well, we'll see, won't we? But the idea that he steps down, or the idea that somehow he's sitting there with Alistair Campbell with his mouth open like he's being fed something meaningful, which is, and if he doesn't, someone will stand against him. But someone should stand against him anyway.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what have you got?
Why don't you?
Why doesn't Wenger? Why doesn't Wenger?
Good shout. Here's one for you. Do you remember Guendouzi?
He's a little rat, isn't he?
The long locks. He's now playing these days for Fenerbahce. But what was he when it came to playing Lyon last night in Europe? Provocateur or victim? You'll enjoy this.
I saw Martin doing his interview afterwards and covering the players. It was an appallingly cowardly performance from Celtic.
Cowardly?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the goal that really started the rot was an unforgivable error from one of their players knocking it back into the space where the guy can just run in and score a goal, which brought them back from the dead, this team. And then to concede goals directly after half-time, you wonder what managers say to these players at half-time that makes them so unresponsive that they go and concede a goal. But I thought it was a dreadful performance. And all this nonsense about, they might have got lucky in the first leg. I didn't hear that narrative being spun out when they won the first leg 3-0. All of a sudden, people are saying, well, they got lucky in the first leg. They did have a lot of shots on goal, this team. Their expected XG was 3 last week, but they didn't score 3. They scored 0.
Yeah.
And in this instance, you look at the performance and you go, what Martin taking the blame for it. This is not about Martin O'Neill. This was about the players on the field. And they didn't buy this player. And they sold £36 million worth of players and they only bought in £32 million worth of players. And the players that came off the bench didn't look like they had the wherewithal. It should never got to the stage where extra time came to play and the players that came off the bench look all lost. They were just cowardly. They were 4-0 up in a Champions League qualifier with the game done. They hand them back an initiative by giving them 1 goal, and then they absolutely capitulate.
Yes, yeah. Cowardly.
But I mean, I know that will be extra, that will be lifted up and maybe quoted somewhere else. But you can't think of any other word. Now, Martin can do all the best he wants. Now, Martin will be privately seething and sitting there and realising that the players have let him down.
Fuming.
But what he will do as an old school manager is deflect from the players and make it about himself. There's nothing about what Martin O'Neill did on that pitch that could legislate or on the dugout or what tactics he set up that can legislate for a capitulation of that order.
Yeah.
How's that? Next March, the England cricket team face Australia in the 150th anniversary test match down under. And as always, the Barmy Army will be there. Thanks to talkSPORT, Visit Victoria could be too. Enter now at talksportwin.com for the chance to score an incredible week-long trip for 2 to watch the 150th anniversary test match in Melbourne with Visit Victoria and the Barmy Army. Enter now at talksportwin.com and get ready to experience the electric atmosphere that only a Barmy Army tour delivers.
Good morning, everybody. 25 minutes past 11 o'clock. We better get a move on with this. It's Jim White and it's Simon Jordan. We are live on talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes. Sorry, I get distracted there. I wanted to tell you about Lyon against Fenerbahce last night, what actually happened in the Champions League qualifier. Fenerbahce went through 3-2 on aggregate. This one all went down last night at Lyon. Fenerbahce won 2-1 last night, but Fenerbahce carry on in the competition and out go Lyon. But do you remember, Simon, this fellow Matteo Guendouzi, once of Arsenal, more recently of Olympique Marseille, and now playing for Fenerbahce. Guendouzi really dined out on the fact that Fenerbahce put Lyon out last night. Now, if you're watching live on YouTube, there he is, coming off the pitch. Simon, have a look at that. And he's really baiting the Lyon crowd, so much so that they react. Some people in the crowd react, and then it all kicks off in the tunnel. And I mean kicked off in the tunnel. As the players tried to head up the tunnel, Antonio Ferreira, the Lyon goalkeeping coach, aimed a flying kick at Guendouzi, and that sparked mass chaos. There you are. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on TV, it carried on inside the tunnel with seemingly everybody involved, and it was all started by Guendouzi. There he is at the front of it again, baiting the Lyon crowd. So he was shouting, apparently, Allez l'homme, go Olympique Marseille, which of course is like putting oil in water when it comes to Lyon fans. They absolutely detest Olympique Marseille and they detest Guendouzi, and they showed that in their reaction. Simon, who's more at fault in these flashpoints though? Ferreira, the goalkeeping coach, reacted in a big way, and that led to widespread scuffles. Is it the provocateur, who in this case is Guendouzi, or is it those who take the bait? In this case, the Lyon fans, the Lyon players, and the Lyon goalkeeping coach.
Well, there's degrees of responsibility and culpability, but Guendouzi is the fire starter. Guendouzi's behaviour, as it was when he played in this country and decided that he could run around a football pitch telling everyone how poor they were in comparison to him, which ultimately got him shipped out of Arsenal.
Who did he tell that how much he
Neil
earned?
Maupay.
Neil Maupay of Brighton. Yeah.
And I think it was Wenger, wasn't it? Just about enough of him, and said doubt.
It was Arteta.
Was it Arteta?
Yeah, he did enough of him.
Sorry, it was Arteta who binned him off. And here he goes again. Now, people are responsible for their own behaviour, so everybody is culpable, and everybody in terms of the professionals on the field, the players, and the support staff that have got involved, it should have a consequence for it.
Yeah.
But he should have the primary consequence, because without his provocation, without his antagonising nature, without his ridiculous over egging of the pudding and baiting and inflammatory, the fans are not professional footballers. The key is in the title. He's a professional footballer that has a responsibility. Around. I mean, look, I get it that footballers get a lot of antagonistic comments made to them on the field and a lot of abuse. And when it comes to abuse of a racial nature or of other natures that's discriminatory, then there's no tolerance of that. But when it comes to abuse about who you play for and those sort of things, I think that just goes with the territory.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you a professional footballer getting paid £100,000 a week.
Right.
And you can get past that.
We saw the extreme, Simon, after the World Cup final, and the Argentinians were meted out 21 match bans. 10 of those matches were handed to Leandro Paredes. So he's sitting out for 10 international matches with Argentina. Should they hit Guendouzi fairly hard here?
Yeah, I don't know the menu that they can pull from in terms of sanctioning him, but he can't behave like that. He can't create and curate that, and he has to suffer a consequence for it, because that's unnecessary. I price into my thinking about what people should have to endure on a football field. And if you told these kids, you're going to become a multi-millionaire footballer, but people are going to shout a few nasty, hurty words to you on a football field, okay, you're going to be able to cope with that. They'd all say, oh, yeah, thanks. If I'm going to be a top footballer getting paid top money, I will do. And when it comes on top, they're all indignant about what they have to listen to. In this instance, he's being a provocateur.
Yeah.
He is antagonising the fans because of a rivalry between two football clubs.
Yeah.
That very little to do with him.
Yeah.
And he is creating a set of behaviour which is unbecoming of a professional footballer on a football field.
Exactly. So you're the president of Fenerbahce. What are you going to hit him with? Or what should he be hit with in terms of a punishment?
Well, it's
Paredes get 10. I mean, that was extreme.
I have to be honest. If he was my player, I'd have a different relationship with him than the players that I don't have a relationship with. So I would always look after my players and want to get in front of the sanction. I'd want to smack him myself and put him in his place, but I'd want to try and sanction him in a way that I chose fit to mitigate what the federation or the authorities might do. Because I want to say to the authorities, I've got it, I've dealt with him, he's being dealt with, I don't need you to step in, thanks very much. I've already dealt with it. Because the authorities will do more damage than me.
Right.
Now, you would say, as an outsider and a neutral, we should get what's coming to him. I, as the owner of the football club, would want, if he's my player, I might know a little bit more about the player's personality. Sure. I might know there might be some background stuff in the way he behaves himself. He might have some off-field activities in his life.
Yeah.
So all of that comes to pass.
He's got crimes against hairstyles to answer to as well, hasn't he?
I don't know, you dare.
Oh, come on. There he is, Guendouzi. It all kicked off because of Matteo Guendouzi's behaviour last night in Lyon. It's 11:30.
Mate, we ain't back, are we?
No.
We ain't back.
No,
I'm
you're
a
not.
bit worried, mate. I'm a bit worried now.
You're taking 10th? You consider... Okay, give me this. I'm giving you 10th now. Are you considering it?
Maybe. Yeah, I might put...
Mate, at 7:30 on Saturday, you might be taking both arms off.
Oh, God. You know what I was worried about, right? We made all these signings.
What part are you worried about?
No, I mean, the front three is just so bad. I can't believe that front three. It was unbelievable. Mikey Moore, Tell and Richarlison. The team looked worse than last season. Like, when you actually looked at it, Spurs' team looked worse than last season. The only player you'd say in there was Tonali, where we paid 100 million for him, right?
Toenail.
But, like, really?
Tonali.
Van Hecker and Senesi at the back, right? Van der Ven is better than Senesi. Van Hecker had a bit of a stinker. Romero, on his day, is better than Van Hecker, all right? Archie Gray is not as good as Porro. And left back, Robertson, okay, I thought he'd done all right. But, we need a bit more from him, but it's first game.
What about Slipsky?
The front three it was awful.
What about Slipsky?
Yeah, he didn't have his best afternoon, did he?
He lumped the ball up to Richarlison. Richarlison trying to win a cheap free kick.
It wasn't ideal, mate. It was a bad start. It really was.
Well, do you know what, Jay? It's about things. Say things can only get better. Maybe they could get worse.
talkSPORT News.
Good morning. With your headlines, I'm Sinead Garvan. 2 teenagers are among the British tourists missing following flash flooding in Nepal. 260 people have been confirmed dead in what's been described as a tsunami from the sky, completely wiping out villages. Minister Pat McFadden told us the government's doing what it can.
Consular assistance is available to families. We don't have a full picture yet of the numbers missing, and we will do everything we can to help the Nepalese authorities find them.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister says the UK has offered £5 million to help the Nepalese government. The number of asylum seekers in hotels was at a new low of 16,000 at the end of June, down 50% year on year. The government said 88% of the 38,000 arriving illegally came on small boats. An inquest heard 2 police officers died from head and neck injuries in a head-on collision with a car going the wrong way on the A66. The 5 young men in the other vehicle were killed too. It's as detectives refused to rule out a connection with a house fire in which an auntie and her niece died a mile mile from the crash. And yellow weather warnings will stay in place over a large area of England and all of Wales for the rest of the day. Downpours will put many areas at risk of flooding. Up to 3 inches of rain is possible.
talkSPORT Sports Headlines with Bostik. For professional grade sealants with easy application and a perfect finish, pros trust Bostik.
Bradley Barcola could become Liverpool's second most expensive signing, and 18-year-old Ayub Buadi is ready to make his City debut live on talkSPORT tomorrow. Tom's got more at midday.
Here's that. Next March, the England cricket team face Australia in the 150th anniversary Test match down under. And as always, the Barmy Army will be there. And thanks to talkSPORT and Visit Victoria, you could be too. Enter now at talksportwin.com for the chance to score an incredible week-long trip for two to watch the 150th anniversary Test match in Melbourne with Visit Victoria and the Barmy Army. Enter now at talksportwin.com and get ready to experience the electric atmosphere that only a Barmy Army tour delivers.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. We're ready for the action. Are you? Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
Simon, we are honoured this morning because Alex Licence of BetMGM joins us live in studio. So that's what you look like.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not just a floating head and shoulders. I am a real person, thankfully.
Alex, good to see you, mate, and thank you for being with us. So much going on at the moment. I mean, let's start with the League Cup. We can do a review, a preview. We can talk about the draw. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, just a quick look at last night. I mean, we got the results that we probably did expect, didn't we? Other than, well, Bradford knocking Burnley out on penalties.
Yeah.
I do have to mention my colleague Sean Martin's really bold treble yesterday of Newcastle, Everton and Tottenham, which landed at a huge 6-4. So I'd imagine he's probably booking the Maldives or something with his winnings as we speak. But yeah, not too much debut goals for Savinho, Torre, Newcastle, hat-trick for Tiano Barry. But like you said, the draw, it threw up some decent ties, didn't it? Potentially, should Chelsea beat Luton tonight, 6 all Premier League ties. Obviously, they, like I mentioned, Chelsea do play tonight. They are very, very heavy favourites, 2-15 to win. And the shot was 1-14 just to win the tie. You've got Fulham also around the corner, just in action at home to Wimbledon again, heavy favourites at 1-7. So no real value at all, really. You can get both teams to win by 3 or more goals at 10-3 if you're looking for a little bit of value. But we had a discussion this morning, and usually the bigger teams don't start taking the EFL Cup too seriously until maybe the quarterfinals, till there's a little bit of silverware on the horizon. But we were speaking, should the likes of Chelsea, Spurs and Newcastle see this as a really good opportunity for silverware this season?
I would say yes, of course. I mean, you were getting fed up because we droned on so much about Newcastle winning it. But it was wonderful and I was there. But yes, it's a valid cup. It's a valid competition. And they all should want to win it, Simon.
Yeah, everybody wants to win something, but they want to win something without a consequence on something else. And it depends where you are in your priorities. If an opportunity to win a cup doesn't compromise what you're doing, you make the argument the other day about why should it? Because it does. Otherwise, people wouldn't do it, would they? So there's obviously a consequence to trying to fight for certain silverware at the same time as trying to achieve other things.
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act. But if you look at the teams that have won the League Cup, it tells you the examples. I mean, all the sides that are winning the League Cup, with the exception of Newcastle, have been the biggest teams in the country for the last 10 or 15 years. Once upon a time, it used to be, I mean, what did we have a few years ago? Tranmere, who was in the final? Bradford versus Swansea.
Oh, yeah,
that
God,
was
that
the League
was
Cup
there.
final. Wow, that
Yeah.
must have done big viewing numbers around the world.
Oh, yeah, but that was a fantastic story, though, in itself.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. But we're talking about the broadcastable and the credibility of it. You know, if Bradford won the League Cup, it hardly sends shivers down everyone's spine, does it, in terms of, woohoo, that's wonderful.
You're right, Man City have dominated it.
And a cup that's been called the Rumbelows Cup, the Milk Cup, the Carabao Cup, the Worthless Cup, or the Worthington Cup, as worthless as we
You said this the other day.
The industry used to call it the Worthless Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me. I didn't make it up.
You just like doing that, so you can show off that you remember all the different names that it was called.
We got to semi-finals of it. So I did show interest, and we got to semi-finals of it and lost to Liverpool.
Okay,
didn't
I see. Incidentally, why is Savinho calling himself Savio now?
Yeah,
He's embarrassed to play for Tottenham.
He's had a rebrand, yeah. But it's about the squad, isn't it? Because, I mean, I mentioned Chelsea, they are 6-1 to win it, but they're probably the team that you look at, obviously no European football. They're the team that could probably field 3 11s of strong players.
They should be out there
give it a right go,
backing themselves to win it, should they not?
But Chelsea are Champions League winners, are Premier League winners, right? Do you think it really pumps their nads to go and win the League Cup?
It what?
It's a terminology.
It plumps their
Pumps
nads.
their nads.
Oh, pumps their nads.
To go
I'm
and
not
win
sure.
to go and win the League Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just hear the narrative from all the wags in the media fraternity. Is that it? Then you won the League Cup.
Yeah, no, I know. Still, it's worth it. So go and win it. Here we go then. The Conference League. What I should say is Hearts overcame Rapid Vienna last night, Alex, as you know, on penalties and reached the Conference League phase after a 2-2 draw in Austria, and then they won a penalty shootout. Well done to Hearts. Rangers in action tonight. Other clubs trying to do big things tonight, like Brighton as well. But where do you want to go with this? And Hearts, I'm pleased for them. I'm pleased.
Yeah, me too. I mean, what a game. It had everything, didn't it? Red card, extra time, penalties. One of the guys earlier mentioned a stat that Hearts are the first team to play in all 3 European competitions in one season, not win a game in 90 minutes and still make the group stages, which is quite remarkable, isn't it? We had them at just over 2-1 to qualify before a ball was kicked.
Yeah.
They went to as big as 10-1 when they was 1-0 down with a red card. So, yeah, unbelievable character to turn it around. And sorry to bring up Celtic to Sean, but the complete opposite of what Celtic showed the other night. They Hearts shown serious character.
We heard that Sean Martin was in tears yesterday before he actually came on.
Yeah.
Was he?
Inconsolable, yeah.
Inconsolable.
Yeah.
That's funny. So Rangers and Brighton tonight.
Yeah, Rangers, they take a slim 1-0 lead to the Czech Republic. Ryan Aderi goal last week was the difference, but you look at the stats, Rangers have lost the last 7 away ties in Europe. It wasn't a convincing win last week.
No. Could be up against it.
Yeah, key man Nico Raskin as well. He's not travelled due to transfer interest, which won't help. So we're looking at the markets. Jablonec are just short 4-1 to qualify. So there's only a goal turnaround at home. I think that could be the bet tonight, is Jablonec to qualify at 19-5, just short 4s.
Okay, and Brighton Tromsø, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So
is that 0-0 from the first one?
Was a goalless draw last week. Brighton, as you would imagine, very, very heavy favourites at 1-8. As short as 1-20 to win the time. We saw them put Aston Villa to the sword, didn't we, on Sunday? So if you're looking for a betting angle, it probably needs to be goals. They did have 24 shots unsuccessfully in that first leg. So Brighton score 4 or more tonight, like they did against Spurs, is 8-5. If you want a little bit of value, that's probably where I'd be looking.
I hope Brighton get through tonight, don't you?
Not particularly.
And of course, I was just wondering if Tromsø is a call on producer Luke's cruise next week of the Norwegian fjords. Does it stop in Tromsø?
I worry about his cruising activities.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Imagine going on a cruise up in that.
Or you can eat barbecue. Or you can eat buffets.
I know.
As if he needs that.
Exactly. I don't even know if Tromsø's on the coast, but we'll find out. England, Pakistan, the second test. What are you thinking, Alex?
Yeah, like you said, a second test of the 3-test series hopefully gets underway shortly. It's not often that the weather's a lot worse down here. I mean, I left Leeds this morning, it was blue skies, so I haven't dressed for the rain, yeah.
Right.
In that first test at Headingley, England won quite convincingly. It only took them 3 days to beat Pakistan by an innings and 103 runs. But you looked at the markets, England favourites, as you would imagine, at 1-3 to secure the series with a 2-0 win. Pakistan 11-2 to level things up. But yeah, looking at the weather, like I mentioned, and a bit of a miserable forecast, the draw at 4-1 might not be the worst shout, but Pakistan will need to drastically improve from that showing last week if they're going to get anything out of it.
No, Simon and I are going to hang on your every word here, because what are your hopes for your beloved Leeds United?
Just an improvement on last season. I mean, not to say we're getting carried away, but my group chat have been dusting off the passports after 2 wins from 2. Yeah, I mean, full of optimism, I think. Anything above 14th last year.
Yeah.
But I will cast your mind back to this time last year. There was a bet with a former colleague of myself, if you remember, Simon.
What was the bet?
The bet was you gave Leeds a 25-point head start on Crystal Palace. I mean, we've got the proof.
Have you?
Right. Right.
So I did bring a little gift.
Oh, this is why you've come in.
This is why I'm here.
There you go.
Wow. Cool.
So
I'm actually flying to Spain today with a massive Leeds supporter who's raving, full of enthusiasm, because James Trafford was a big signing for you guys, and he was very excited about getting a goalkeeper in.
Yeah.
So fantastic.
That's great. No,
you might not
gonna
be
wear
able to wear it though, because we did get Simon and 25 on the back.
Look at that.
Just to
Very
resemble.
good. Very good.
Thank
you very much.
It's not to be used as toilet.
But I, in all seriousness, I think Leeds is a wonderful club. Always have done.
Yeah.
Well, you've always spoke hard.
That is an extra large, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Alex, good to see you in person, and thank you so much for that. And it was all thanks to BetMGM. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Would you both have expected better than what you saw from Tottenham? And I think the answer
I'm
to
not
that
surprised
is,
that they lost.
Oh, yes.
I'm not surprised that they lost, but the
Not
manner.
taking anything away from Brentford, though.
No, the manner in which they lost surprised me.
Right.
There didn't seem to be any
Right.
fight or any change in gear, or the mindset hasn't changed. It's exactly the same. A soft underbelly from Spurs, and they're going to have to eradicate that very quickly.
And both of you think they'll do one hell of a lot better than 17th.
Well, they
so
with
do you
the players
still
they're now
have
buying,
heightened
yes.
expectations that they might be top half? Then they might be top 6.
No, I'm thinking top half of the table. I'm not saying they're going to be, it would be a surprise. They could do 6th, 7th, but they're going to have to improve massively, Jim, from what we saw at the weekend. And where are these players that have been injured for so long? Look, there's an awful lot of players.
Fit, isn't he?
Van der Ven wasn't available, Jim. You look at the back four, there's hardly anybody playing from last season. So they're facts, but get them fit then. Let's get them out there.
We saw Newcastle yesterday and how they went about it.
They're at home.
We saw they're at home, yeah. But we saw Tottenham and how they went about it. It's chalk and cheese.
But I think this is great for De Zerbi because he'll sort the wheat from the chaff. And for me, I don't have any expectation of Tottenham. They're not my football club. So, I don't particularly admire their board and I don't particularly like their manager. So I don't have an objective view. So I'm quite happy to see them struggle. But that's me being mean-spirited. But you would, for the Tottenham fans, who are plenty of my friends are Tottenham fans, you've gone to Brentford. You've been battered. You could have got beat 7.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been a surprise because they were dominant. They missed the penalty. They had other chances, Brentford.
Yeah.
A lot of that is because Brentford are a really good side, and playing Brentford away in the first game of the season gives you a false sense of security.
How's that? Next March, the England cricket team face Australia in the 150th anniversary Test match down under. And as always, the Barmy Army will be there. And thanks to talkSPORT, Visit Victoria could be too. Enter now at talksportwin.com for the chance to score an incredible week-long trip for 2 to watch the 150th anniversary Test match in Melbourne with Visit Victoria and the Barmy Army. Enter now at talksportwin.com and get ready to experience the electric atmosphere that only a Barmy Army tour delivers.
Check out the latest talkSPORT daily podcast with the transfer deadline looming. Max Scott and talkSPORT's chief football correspondent Alex Crook discuss the biggest potential moves, latest deals, and the business Premier League clubs still need to do. Here's Alex having his say on the deal that Spurs have done for Savio from Man City.
Nobody was in a bidding war for Savinho or Savio. Maybe the name change might bring a turn of fortunes on the pitch. They were basically bidding against themselves. So I don't understand why this fee is so high. There was a bit of talk that maybe it's because they're getting Omar Marmoush for a slightly reduced fee in order to not pay his former club a big sell-on fee, but that's been denied in Germany. There isn't actually a sell-on fee for Frankfurt at all. So yeah, I think 85 million for Savinho is puzzling. I had a good dust up with Jeremy O'Hara about this on the sports bar on Tuesday night. I had a bet with him that at 70 million pounds, Belieber is going to make more of an impact at Manchester United than Savinho at 85 will at Spurs. So let's see. All I would say, he's been desperate to make this move since this time last year. Obviously, Roberto De Zerbi wasn't the Tottenham manager then, but he's still given it his approval, and he's a good judge of a player. So I do think we'll see more of Savinho in a Tottenham shirt, playing week in, week out, which he wasn't at City, but it is still an astronomical fee.
That's the talkSPORT Daily, available on all podcast platforms right now. Let's head out here, Simon. Head out of London, head out the UK. Where shall we go? Let's go to the Bahamas, because that is where we find former Spurs, Blackburn, Liverpool, USA goalkeeper Brad Friedel, who joined us throughout our stay in the US for the World Cup. And Brad rejoins the show this morning. Mr. Friedel, welcome back. How do we find you?
Always good, Jim. Simon, how are you guys?
Good, mate. Nice to see you.
Very good.
Nice to see you as well.
As you're in the Bahamas, I take it you're barefoot.
Of course. Don't ask silly questions already, Jim.
We've got off and running with a silly one. Here's the thing. Let's not talk Liverpool for a moment. We'll get to them. But what about Tottenham Hotspur? The Spurs spending shows no signs of stopping. Is it going to translate on the field of play? Because that's what De Zerbi wants, Brad.
I mean, I think De Zerbi is an excellent coach. I think it will translate onto the pitch. The first game was not good. Up front, I think they have a lot of work to do. The only question, I know we spoke about this a little bit, some of it on air, some of it off air, over the summer. Like, the amounts of money they're paying for the players is a lot. So I don't know if it's clever spending or they're just having to overspend again to get their player. But this is one of the predicaments that Tottenham's been in for a while. When you go up against the other clubs, the bigger clubs, the ones that are in the Champions League, the one that generate an enormous amount of wealth, you get caught in this predicament of overpaying a player. And then is the player only coming for money? Is it the agent that's getting paid more money? Is that the type of mental attitude and character you want in a player? So it's a tough one for these clubs like a Villa, like a Newcastle, like a Tottenham, to really break into that top four, because you're always having to do something a little bit different in the transfer market than, let's say, a Man City or a Chelsea or a Man United or a Liverpool.
He's talking sense.
Yeah, I think
Brad, isn't he?
I think that's a fair analysis. And given even more so, despite winning the Europa League, Spurs will have lost their lustre. They were considered to be a side that you would pretty much think would be in and around the top four, top five, which means there were always European football available to them, or the premise of it. Now they're rebuilding, so there is that catch-22 situation where they've got to pay for players. I mean, you question the motivations. Of course, it's part and parcel of a player's mentality that he wants to get paid, so you can't remove that from the equation. But when you've got players like Tonali, the only reason I would suspect he's gone to Spurs, besides the fact there might not have been a massive queue of other people that wanted to sign him, which is also a concern if you want to look at the player himself.
Yeah.
But the fact is that he got paid more money to go to Spurs than anywhere else, and you think to yourself, well, what does that tell you about the player?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's a good point. I want to talk about the goalkeeping side of things, because obviously that is your specialised subject, Mr. Friedel. Chelsea, can they compete at the elite end if they keep Rob Sanchez in goal?
I've said this for a while. I thought they had a tremendous goalkeeper in Petrovic at the club. They had him under lock and key. They owned him. I thought that was going to be the future of Chelsea. I think Sanchez is a good goalkeeper, but I'm not sure he's the Van der Sar, the Schmeichel, the Seaman, the type of goalkeeper, the Alisson. These guys that are going to win you trophy after trophy after trophy. It's a different mentality. I take away the fact that he made a mistake against Fulham. Every goalkeeper makes a mistake, but this is a season in, season out situation. That the best goalkeepers are the ones that can recover the quickest after their mistake. And you need a goalkeeper that has resilience, and it's about mentality. All goalkeepers in the Premier League, 1, 2, and 3, can save shots, can catch crosses, their own technique. they're going to be decent with their feet. It's the mental side of the game on how you deal with mistakes, how you deal with criticism, not letting one mistake cost two, cost three, cost four. And that's why, getting someone like if Emi Martinez is on the tip of everyone's tongue right now, if he's the one, like he's been in the big games, he knows what it's like. He can make the mistake and then come back from it. That's what separates the top goalkeepers from the others, not necessarily the today's shot stopping. It's what happens when things go wrong.
Right. And if he ends up at Chelsea, how much of an upgrade is Emiliano Martinez then, in your view, Brad?
I mean, there's certain aspects of the game that'll be quite comparable, but where there's an upgrade is Martinez. Every single time he steps on the pitch, thinks he's the best player on the field, and that's a good thing for him. He gets himself ramped up. He's won a World Cup. He's won other trophies. He knows he can be a leader on the team. He backs himself. He knows that if he makes a mistake, that he's going to bounce back from it. And the most important thing is the players around know that if he makes a mistake, he's going to be able to come back from it. Right now, if Sanchez makes a mistake, I'm not so sure that all the players around are thinking, okay, he'll be good in the next minutes.
Yeah,
I think they're thinking a little bit different. And I think he's also making the fans a little bit nervous. And when you make the fans nervous, then there's more anxiety inside the stadiums, and it's a little bit kind of a different atmosphere. If somebody like a Martinez went there, I don't think there would ever be any whispers about who the number one is. I don't think there would be a whisper about do we have a top goalkeeper or not.
Brad, while we're on, we spoke on air and off it about your time at Liverpool and what it meant to you when we were over in the US with you. A deal agreed in principle for Bradley Barcola between PSG and Liverpool, package of around £120 million. What is he going to give them, Brad? Because at the moment, everybody tries to tell us here, and Simon said it himself, this is Arsenal's title to lose. What does this give Liverpool in terms of a title challenge and a credible one?
It gets them a little bit closer. I think Liverpool's a ways off it right now. Arsenal, they won the league. They got Mikel Arteta got over that hump, so to speak. Liverpool need more, I think, than just Barcola. I think it's a step in the right direction. Whether it was Doué, whether it was Barcola, we all know the embarrassment of riches that PSG have up front, and this will be a great piece to the puzzle. But I do think with Arsenal also adding to their squad that this season is probably going to be a little bit too much for Liverpool to catch up to them. But it's a good stepping stone, a good building block if they can keep Iraola through the season, and he stays close, and the board doesn't get nervous with him, and he can build again in January, build again next summer. Then I think you could see Liverpool being a very strong force to be reckoned with the following season.
Do you agree with the premise, Brad, that it's Arsenal's Premier League to lose?
Absolutely. I think Man City has some tremendous players. I worry a little bit about Pep leaving, Maresca coming in, and do the players adapt to Maresca's style? Do they adapt to him as a person? The greatest managers, as you know, Simon, they're the ones that can control the egos. And if they can't control the egos, they can get the egos out or at least keep them in check. I don't know if Maresca can do that. Maybe he can. I'm not saying that he can't, but that's a little bit of a question mark for me. Manchester United, I don't think is near there. Chelsea's an interesting.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next. What's your view of Chelsea?
Yeah, Xabi Alonso is an excellent coach. They have a very good squad. They're always going to be able to add to the squad. And they would probably, for me, be the closest right now. And depending on how the season goes, Simon, the results come and go. And when you get into multiple competitions and you have a lot of games, if you get the wrong injuries at the wrong times, I think Chelsea could come close. If not, if all the cards fall for them, they could be title contenders for sure. But I see them as probably being the closest. I mean, Man City player for player is closest, and they could be right there as well. But that's interesting between those three clubs. But I think Arsenal right now is a little bit apart from everyone.
Brad, it's always good to speak to you. When are we going to see Brad Friedel here in the studio of the 17th floor of the News Building here at London Bridge? Or more importantly, when are Simon and Luke and Joe and myself going to be out doing a show live from Brad Friedel's living room in the Bahamas?
Well, the invitation to the Bahamas is anytime. Being over in the UK, it could be sooner rather than later. We'll have to wait and see.
How soon?
We'll see.
All right. Brad, great to speak to you. Thank you so much. That'd be good to do a show from his house.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see Brad. I think he's great. So
never mind that. For us going to the Bahamas.
If I was going, but if I had to bring you along with me, then not so much.
There you go. That's gratitude for you. I just set that deal up. We're live in talkSPORT with Selco where the trade goes. The other side of 12 noon, we'll talk boxing.
I've got to stop you there, right? Because I've heard this guff from you and Gabby today, all right? Going on about Spurs overspending, overpaying for players.
Whoa,
all right?
wait,
and I can't believe Crookie has got the cheek to come on here as a Man United fan and say that Belieber's a good deal at 70 million. He was guff last season. He didn't play.
I think you'll find Belieber at 70 million is going to be better value for money than Savinho at 85.
Oh, mate, you're talking absolute crap.
I'll have a little bet for you. Let's have a little bet. Who has the better season?
You signed Anthony for 75 million. You sold Pogba for £100 million.
What's going on here? Why are you two falling out?
No, but
hold on, what's going on?
Because I keep hearing Crookie go on like Man United are doing good deals.
What's happening here? Why are you two
and
rowing?
Spurs are spending too much money on players. Like,
We'll
you
have a
having a laugh?
forfeit at the end of the season, Jamie. Jason can judge at the end of the season whoever makes more impact for their club, Belieber or Savinho. The loser has to do a show. You do it in a United shirt. I'll
Hold
do
on,
it in a
Crookie.
shirt.
Savinho could score 25 goals this season, and Cundy will still say Belieber's had it.
Belieber's going to be the better player. Belieber's going to be the better player.
It's a pointless bet.
No, he will be.
I'm just sick to death of seeing Crookie come on, going on like Spurs, just because we've got cash to spend, right? And we're throwing it about, right? And everyone's getting yump about it.
Hold on.
You know who you are, Jamie.
What's
you know
going
what Tottenham
on?
are. You know when you're a kid and you get your first Saturday job, right? It could be at a supermarket, it could be in a restaurant, it could be in a bar, and you get your first pay packet and you spend it in 24 hours.
What's wrong with you two? Jay,
we've all done it, mate. Went out and bought Bentley with my signing on.
Jay, wait, there. Hold on. Calm down, you two.
talkSPORT Sports Update with NordVPN. Now with built-in next-gen antivirus that automatically detects malicious links, websites and files.
For the headlines at 2 minutes past 12, I'm Tom Clayton. Good afternoon. We're hearing Liverpool have an agreement in place for PSG's Bradley Barcola. Our chief football correspondent is Alex Crook.
And we know they've had a couple of offers rejected for Yankuba Minte at Brighton. They're not going to meet the £80 million asking price, is my understanding. They made a tentative inquiry for Crystal Palace's Ismail Assar as well in the last 24 hours or so, but Steve Parish has made it clear he's not for sale.
The move could mean Cody Gakpo leaves Liverpool, but we're told they want another forward in first. Meanwhile, we've heard Omar Marmoush has signed his Spurs contract. Man City are expected to get $60 million. Former Egypt and Spurs striker Mido told us Marmoush is a great signing.
He needs Tottenham as well. He's been unlucky with the minutes he's been having at Manchester City. I totally think that it was the wrong move for him to go to City because he needs to be playing.
Over at Man City, Enzo Maresca says Ayub Buwadi is ready to play straight away. Buwadi could feature as Man City go to Crystal Palace. That's live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Elsewhere, Saudi Arabia has issued a vote of confidence in Gianni Infantino. After the appointment of a new president of their own, the body has welcomed acknowledgements of mistakes and the apology for the failed FIFA forward enterprise. And to Lords, where after a slight rain delay, we have the news of the teams of the toss. talkSPORT's Sam Ellard.
start at 12:20, Tom, so in 15 minutes' time. With some overhead conditions suiting the bowling and some rain around, no real surprise that Pakistan, after winning the toss, have decided to bowl first. Babar Azam is back for Pakistan as captain. England unchanged from that comfortable victory at Headingley last week, so once again it's the four-man seam attack: Tongue, Archer, Atkinson and Robinson. We start in 17 minutes' time. England looking to go 2-0 up in the series here at Lords, but Pakistan win the toss and they'll bowl first.
Talk Sport News.
The Prime Minister offers British help to Nepal after devastating fatal flash floods there, and hotel-based asylum seekers have halved over the last year, reaching a record low. Toby has more at past.
Talk Sport weather with QuickFit. Keep summer journeys safe. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com to book your tyres, MOTs and servicing, so you can drive away happy every time.
Well, the warnings for thunderstorms remain in place in central areas. That band of rain moves in a northwesterly direction this afternoon. Warm and humid, especially in the south.
Talk Sport with DAZN. This Saturday, witness history as Moses bids to become Britain's youngest ever heavyweight world champion. Exclusively on DAZN Saturday Fight Night.
With respect to Filip Hrgović, Moses Atoma is going to go through him.
I don't buying that story, that hype. I'm not buying that.
Don't buy it, you'll see it.
Moses Atoma!
This is the hardest fight, like professional, amateur, the threat, the opposition.
There is the destructive power of this exciting teenager.
People might think I'm crazy. I think he's the best I've seen since Muhammad Ali.
Moses Atoma gets the biggest win of his professional life.
What's at stake? Of course, that's the biggest fight of my life.
So much upon us this Saturday. Witness history as Moses Atoma bids to become Britain's youngest ever heavyweight world champion. And we're going to look ahead to this fight now with DAZN. In the company of talkSPORT fight pundit and host of DAZN Boxing, Adi Oladipo is in studio with us live this lunchtime. Mr. Oladipo, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, gents. This is it's a good time to be here because this is a very, very significant and big fight, not just for Moses Atoma, obviously, but for Frank Warren. I feel like he's almost to coin a poker face. I feel like he's gone all in on Atoma. He's gone all in. Frank Sanchez has been given a bit of step aside money, IBF heavyweight title, pay-per-view, big arena in the O2. So it's like, okay, let's see what you've got, Moses. So very, very excited. I'm so intrigued by this matchup. Me and Sam have just been talking about it before we came on air. And there are so many different ways for both to have some success. Ultimately, Moses should win. But that's not how heavyweight boxing is always played out, is it?
Ah, right, okay. Because the match, you're right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Moses to win it inside 4 rounds.
Oh, yeah. But there'll be questions. I mean, what we want, Moses won't want it, but what we want is questions asked of Moses that he's been yet to ask. I'll be asked and see how the answer comes out. And everyone tells us, conventional wisdom tells us, orthodoxy in the boxing fraternity know this fighter. They're all raving about him. They've seen him in sparring. They know that he can take a shot. But there is a question: can he carry a shot? In the lights, he says he can. He says he doesn't need a good chin. He said some rather strange things, Moses, that I think that Filip Hrgović picked up on well. And sort of, yeah. I think Filip has come very. We did him on Talk Boxing the other day. Very stoic, very statesmanlike, very composed. I thought he was a class act when he came and spoke to us the other day. He knows he's being brought into this fight in some sort of narrative that he's there to get beaten by Moses, which must be quite difficult for a man of his. He has tickets on himself. He's a great believer in himself.
Very,
he
very
believes
confident.
he should be a world title contender. So he won't like the idea that he's being billed to get beaten by what he will think is a kid.
Yeah, I mean, who would? But are we right to frame the fight, though, Addy, as a procession to anointing its new king, and that new king is Moses?
Well, yeah, I guess we're right to do that from a UK standpoint. Ultimately, he's a British kid. We want him to do well. We are seeing the end. I know we're going to get to it on today's show with AJ, Fury, White, Chisora, Joe Joyce. So we almost want the next person to carry that baton. And that's not being disrespectful to Dubois and Wardley, but we look at this guy, Moses, as someone that could transcend the sport. So not just boxing, step outside of boxing and become sort of worldwide famous. And I think he's already starting to do that, but ultimately you need to do that by delivering in the ring. And here he has a chance to become a heavyweight world champion, the second youngest of all time. And I think he can do it. I think he can tick all those boxes.
I wonder if everyone's getting ahead of themselves here, Simon. We know what he's done to the opponents that he's come up against in the past. But when you hear Billy Joe Saunders on that clip, comparing Atoma to Muhammad Ali, Prince Nassim Hamed claims that Moses is already on another level to Fury and Joshua.
You know, if me and Simon were to say it, maybe, but if me and Simon were to say it, people will say, you guys have never boxed before, what do you know? When two former world champions say it, sometimes you just have to stand up and take notice. Prince Nassim Hamed knows his stuff. Billy Joe Saunders is a two-weight world champion. Prince Nassim Hamed, the youngest ever champion we've had from these shores. When they start giving him praise, yes, it might be exaggerated somewhat, but when they do it, okay, fair. If me and Simon do it, it'll be clipped up and people will start laughing. But when they do it, I'm all for it.
No, it's a good point. Like the fight's on Saturday night at the O2 here in London. Let's go to the O2 right now. That's where we find Spencer Oliver. The press conference, Spencer, I believe, with the two fighters is in less than an hour. And you're right on the spot to ask them the kind of questions that you will ask. What kind of mood do you expect from both of these fighters, from Moses and Hrgović?
Well, I can go by what we saw at Spitalfields Market yesterday in the open workouts. We saw them for the first time. You looked at them, the physical presence of both of them. They looked incredible shape. Moses Atama a little bit more reserved, maybe a little bit more tense. You know, there's a lot of pressure on this young man's shoulders, whereas Filip Hrgović has been there at this sort of level before. So he knows what to expect. He's trying to get inside Moses' head already. You know, he looks like, as I said, he looks in phenomenal shape, and he was playing up with the crowd yesterday, looked nice and relaxed, nice and focused. It's a great fight, and I agree with what you guys are saying there, actually, in the studio, that, look, it's more about the unknowns of Moses Atama than what it is of Filip Hrgović. We know what Filip Hrgović can do. We know how he can tough it out. We know that he mixes it at that level. He can take the big punches from the likes of Daniel Dubois. So, you know, for Moses Atama, this is more about, you know, if he gets taken into the second half of the fight, how will he react? And that's the answers I think Simon's been alluding to, Addy, yourself as well, and the answers that I would like to know as well. But if he takes Filip Hrgović out and takes him out early, I think we just have to accept that we've got the next great heavyweight champion on our hands.
So how much of a step up, Addy, and for you, Simon, is Hrgović? How safe a step up is he?
Well, it's not a safe step up, is it? But it is a
from Moses' point of view.
But it's not a safe step up because Filip Hrgović is a world-recognised elite fighter that's fought at this level, beaten other fighters around. I mean, I don't think his resume is as impressive as people like to make out that it is, but notwithstanding it, it's better than Moses. It's because Moses, with respect, he fought Jermaine Franklin, who was brought in to be durable, which means he's been brought in to get whacked, and that's what what truly happened.
But we know what a good matchmaker Frank Warren is, and no doubt Hrgović is brought in for a reason.
Sure, but also Moses wanted the opportunity. Hrgović, Frank Sanchez, as Addy says, has been paid step-aside money when Frank Sanchez at times can put a glass eye to sleep. But in this instance, Hrgović is a dangerous fighter. He was unlucky against Daniel Dubois to some extent because he did give Daniel Dubois some real trouble, and the cuts in the end did for him in the Dubois fight, as well as Daniel stepping up his performance. Look, there's a real level in this fight that we're going to see if Moses Atama can step into. I think he can, but I think Filip Hrgović is a very, very credible challenger. It's a very good fight, and we're going to see lots of questions asked and answered. I mean, the big question is who's under the most pressure. I would think Moses is under the most pressure.
Yeah.
Because the old man of the situation is being, in part, written off. He's in last chance saloon. If he doesn't win this fight, he's in boxing.
So Hrgović is no way a stepping stone for Moses.
It's a big stepping stone for Moses. Yeah, absolutely. It's a massive stepping stone. I mean, Jermaine Franklin to Filip Hrgović. Jermaine Franklin was thought of, as Simon said, durable. And if you were going by rankings, maybe a guy floating around the top 30. A lot of people have Hrgović around the top 5. It's a big step up, a massive step up.
So where's the jeopardy in this for Moses?
Getting beat. All the pressure. This is a home show. Your promoter's gone out, again, put you in the home of British boxing, the O2 Arena. It's sold out. The numbers are good. It's on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Are you that guy? Are you the guy that's going to put...
None of you think that Hrgović is capable of winning?
I certainly do.
You do?
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think Hrgović can beat Moses.
Of course he's capable.
Do I think Moses will win? Yes, but I think Hrgović is a massive, massive problem. Massive problem. He's durable. He's got a chin. If this goes past... I mean, Simon alluded to it earlier about maybe Moses getting it done in 4. That's because a lot of people think if it goes after 4, then there's problems, there's jeopardy. If this goes 5 or 6, and Moses has landed these big shots and those fast, sneaky shots, and Hrgović has ate them and he's still there, then we might have a problem.
Come in this, Spencer. What do you think? How do you see it unfolding?
Well, everybody's talking about Moses getting this job done and getting it done early, but there is levels to the game, and when you step up levels, the fighters do become more durable. You look at Filip Hrgović and you look at the resume that you're talking about there, like someone like Joe Joyce, very heavy-handed, he took those shots, he rallied through, he won that fight. David Adelaide, when he come through the 7th round and took some heavy punishment against a very big punching heavyweight there, and against Daniel Dubois, where he was doing very well. Some people felt that he was in front and he was taking heavy punishment. He's only ever been stopped on his feet. You know, he's only ever been stopped on cuts. Zhilei Zhang's the only guy to ever put him on the floor. He come back and won that fight. Whether people felt that was controversial or not, he still got through that one and won it. So this is a huge test for Moses Atauma. I think this fight could go late, and I think that Moses will have to show character in this fight. And if he's as good as we think he is, he comes through this fight. But it's not as easy as what people are suggesting. It's not a foregone conclusion. Filip Hrgović is definitely a top 5 heavyweight. He falls into the elite bracket here, and he will see this is his massive opportunity as well.
Okay, from each of the 3 of you then, one name. Who wins it? Simon?
Moses.
Addy? Moses? Spencer?
Moses between rounds 7 and 9 on cuts. I think that Filip Hrgović stands on his feet, but the facial damage will be too bad.
Between rounds 7 and 9. You see it going that far?
Yeah, it could. Again, Hrgović is very, very durable. I mean, he can take a whack, but ultimately, sometimes, I think we said this with Joe Joyce, that will crack soon.
He's never been with this kind of speed, though, is he?
Yeah, this speed's frightening. This youth, this speed is frightening. But one thing Hrgović does have as well, with Abel Sanchez, he's training now, that he's worked on his gas tank. That was a big sort of X on him. Now he's worked on his gas tank, so he can go the distance. He can go full 12 rounds if need be. We don't know if Moses can yet. There's a lot of questions around Moses. Hopefully, he answers them all on Saturday night and we can get behind him. But there are, as Simon said, a lot of questions to be answered, which will be answered on Saturday.
I mean, it'll be fascinating to see how Hrgović approaches this fight, because I think he's got to get Moses Atauma's respect early. And the difficulty is he's fighting against a southpaw, which normally means that he would be imposing his jab on Moses Atauma, but he can't do that easily.
Yeah.
So I think you might find Hrgović meeting him in the middle of the ring very early. And that might make for an interesting set of circumstances.
Also, Jim, sorry, very quickly, Moses isn't used to someone like Hrgović, and I mean even prior to the fight, the back and forths, the press conferences, the face-offs. I've done a couple of Atauma face-offs, and his opponents don't say anything. I did the Dillian White one, I did Jermaine Franklin one. He's not used to someone goading him, almost digging him, laughing at the resume, laughing at the upbringing. He's not used to that. So we're seeing a different Moses having to navigate this kind of murky waters with someone that's actually giving it back now. Because normally people go in, they almost bow down to him like you are the king.
Sure.
Hrgović has given him no respect. And that's something he's going to have to get used to.
Addy, thanks for that. More on Moses Atauma Hrgović to come in this hour. But remember, the fight is with DAZN. Join DAZN Ultimate for 185 plus fight nights and 12 plus pay-per-views every year, including Atauma Hrgović, Ryan Garcia, Conor Benn, all included and no extra cost.
Big fight build-up on talkSPORT with DAZN. This Saturday, witness history as Moses bids to become Britain's youngest ever heavyweight world champion. Exclusively on DAZN Saturday Fight Night.
When someone writes an article that's so smart arse because it knows all the answers, right? And it writes an article about judgment. Now you've got to win, and the only way you can overcome that is by winning it. And so that's what they've got to do.
Right. So on that topic, is anything less than a title challenge failure this season?
Well, it depends what title.
A serious title to be there or there.
No, but they're not good enough.
Come May.
But then, are they going to beat Arsenal? Are Arsenal ahead of them?
They're still not good enough.
No, they're not a good enough side. They can't possibly be. It's taken 7 years for Mikel Arteta and hundreds of millions of pounds spent slightly differently and wisely because he's got a mature setup with different people in the confines of Arsenal that have got a better way of operating than some of the Chelsea people have achieved so far. It's taken them 7 years. How can we decide? How can you turn on a sixpence and say you should now win the league? Oh, it's bloody stupid.
So what, they won't be in the title race come April, May?
Well, they may well be in what is considered to be a title race, which is a group of sides competing to be really in the top four that might be keeping the league honest by making it look like it's not a runaway train for one particular team. They might be in that race.
Do you think the Maresca and Manchester City will be in the title race?
I hope not. I hope he gets fired. But that's a different discussion. But the bottom line is that they might be, because they're the best team in the league, which is why it's all silly about, oh, don't say that, it's not theirs to win, right? Is Arsenal.
Do you think Iraola and Liverpool will be in the title race?
No, I think Arsenal are going to win the league, and I think they're going to win it at a stroll.
So who's it between?
Arsenal and Arsenal.
Should Liverpool and City be expected to be in the title race?
I hope, and we should hope for an interesting season that everybody in the higher echelons of the Premier League really push Arsenal.
Next March, the England cricket team face Australia in the 150th anniversary Test match down under. And as always, the Barmy Army will be there. And thanks to talkSPORT, Visit Victoria could be too. Enter now at talksportwin.com for the chance to score an incredible week-long trip for two to watch the 150th anniversary Test match in Melbourne with Visit Victoria and the Barmy Army. Enter now at talksportwin.com and get ready to experience the electric atmosphere that only a Barmy Army tour delivers.
Jim White, Simon Jordan, Adi Oladipo. We're live in talkSPORT with Selco. It's where the trade goes. On this occasion, of course, with Adi in studio and Simon, of course, as well. We are talking boxing. We're looking ahead to Itoma against Hrgovic this weekend. Further down the line, of course, all the talk is, we're going in that direction. AJ in the ring with Tyson Fury. The big question is, where is it going to take place? There's even a further question to it. Is it going to take place? But we'll get to that. Frank Warren, top promoter is Frank, of course, has been talking a lot this week. He joined Simon on Top Boxing and told us more about the fight and more accurately about the location.
The fight will be on in America.
That's what I take away
from it. That's what's going to happen. Tyson's actually in America now, training. He's flown out there. He flew out there a couple of days ago, so he's training in America. I think the fight go on in America, and getting some seats for flight seats and the additional money which is in Eddie's contract with him. I'm sure it'll get sorted out, and it will get sorted out. If it don't, it's like I was telling Jim on your show months ago. We'll see. There's no magic answers. There was, I've not gone through this publicly. There were contractual issues that had to be sorted out, and hopefully that's all going to get done. It's going to have to get done fairly quickly. I believe it will get done, and that's it.
So that was that. And then when you spoke to IFL TV, Frank became a bit more animated.
It's actually becoming boring, all this. It's a bore. That's why when I get, people saying, why don't you, when's it happening? When they ask me this question, I'll keep referring to that thing with talkSPORT with Jim White, which me off. Tyson's signing with this one, he's doing. It was just, I said, we will see what's going to happen. We'll see. What's changed from when I had that conversation with him, 2 months ago? Nothing.
Frank, do you expect Dana White to be involved in this once this gets going?
I would think that'd be the case.
Is that an issue for you or not?
Nothing's an issue to me. Get the fight on. Who cares? What are they doing? Is anyone involved? All you're doing is sitting at a table. We're not in the ring fighting, are we? Who cares a me, him, this one? All you care about is getting the two fellas in the ring and get the fight on, or not. Stop wasting all our lives on this.
And then further down the line after that, Frank also suggested that if the fight isn't done by the end of next week, it could fall by the wayside. Frank says, unless AJ commits by the end of next week, I'm afraid this will slip away like so many of those great fights, which never happened. That's not going to happen, Addy, is it? Or is it?
No. I mean, there's a possibility, but no. I mean, I think there's already been some conversation about Tyson Fury fighting someone in November now. So Tyson Fury wants to fight in America, wants to fight Madison Square Garden, and that person opposing him might not be Anthony Joshua, but obviously the numbers on the check for Fury be considerably less. So if you're Fury, you just want this done. And, that IFL TV interview that Frank done, I'm with him. It is getting a bit boring. Like, is it happening or not? Like, I feel like I've been sat here with you guys in the studio for the last 5 years and we've been talking about AJ Fury. And we're inching closer, then you kind of move a step back and then you inch closer. And fight fans are tired of it. I mean, these are two guys that have done so much for the sport in British boxing, so I certainly don't want to bring them down, but you're not talking to guys at the pinnacle of the sport anymore in terms of their levels as to where they are. We just want to see them have a crack. There was a time when I was angry that it wasn't going to be at Wembley Stadium. I'm over that now. Okay, if it's going to go to New York, Madison Square Garden, fine. Well, but just fight.
Frank says quite candidly to Simon on Talk Boxing, it's going to be in America.
Yeah, because the thing for me is that I don't see how integral the two promoters are, with respect. Because Tyson and Anthony Joshua have already told you they've done their deals with the people that are actually paying for the fight. So with due respect, the promoters might have there's no broadcaster involved that the promoters have an obligation to. It's not a DAZN fight, it's a Netflix fight. So they've not got the broadcaster, they haven't put the money up. So really and truly, how pivotal are they to this outcome? It's really to do with Tyson Fury and with Anthony Joshua. You might look at some of the structuring of how they might have been paid. How was Anthony paid for the Christian Prenga fight? Why was he paid for the Christian Prenga fight perhaps at the levels he was? Because there might be some structuring going on there which might tell you that the fight's going to happen. I think the fight will happen. I think it will happen in New York. I think it's being put forward by Turki Al-Sheikh. Eddie might not like the fact that Dana White's going to be involved, and that might burn his backside, but he'll have to get over that. Because it really is Turki Al-Sheikh's decision where it goes. He's got a 60% shareholding in an American business. So he's the guy that's making the decisions to some extent. So, from that point of view, the rest of it, I feel, is like a trail of intrigue and interest being whipped up around the fight because we're keeping it current, we're keeping it in people's minds. And these guys are going to get paid inordinate amounts of money. And maybe there is a little bit of finessing. Like Frank said on Tuesday, maybe there is a little bit of finessing that needs to be done, which is, I can't imagine why there'd be less money on offer. Eddie was talking about less money for Anthony Joshua because they've decided to put it in America. I don't understand why that would be the case, because the contract would be the contract. And if the promoters have changed the venue, they can't seriously expect the fighters to take less money if they've changed the location.
I mean, are they talking from a tax perspective with AJ? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I would suspect so. And
so you almost want that gap to be bridged.
And you might want to work out why Anthony fought Christian Prenga in Dubai and what got paid for that.
I mean, Addy, in the past, Ali Frazier, Manila, Ali Foreman, Zaire, Ali Bugner, Kuala Lumpur, AJ Fury, New York.
As Simon said.
Is it so what?
Yeah. No, yeah, maybe. But as Simon said, whoever's putting the money up can decide where this fight takes place. We've had there's been opportunities for Frank and Eddie to put this fight together over a decade, and then they can decide and dictate where it wants to take place, whether that be Wembley or Tottenham. If you've allowed Turkey to come in and be the big king in this, then if I'm putting the money up and I'm Turkey, it goes where I want to go and it benefits Netflix. And Netflix will look at it and say, the biggest number of views we can get is from America. And that's why they're going there and putting it on in America, which look, I don't like, but it is what it is.
It's that. I think it's ultimately part of an iconic platform that builds out the vision that Turki Al-Sheikh has for the moments that he wants in boxing. And MSG operates in a certain way.
Yeah.
You look at the scale of this fight and you look at the value of it, and you cannot pay these fighters what they want to get in the ring if you give it its market value. The market value of this fight does not get them the kind of dough that they want. The reasons why they're getting the kind of dough that they're able to leverage out, because don't forget 4 or 5 years ago when we were talking about this deal, when Tyson Fury was giving Anthony Joshua the luxury of making sure that he signed him to fight him 2 months after he got beat by Usyk and do it on his time schedule and all that sort of stuff, when he was signed to fight Wilder, couldn't get out of that contract. The reasons why this fight is happening is because Frank and Eddie cannot manufacture value. They can only pay what it's worth. And this fight is not worth 150 million quid. It's worth probably 50, 60, but the fighters won't get in a ring for it.
So to both of you, before we hit 12:30, regardless of where it is, does it happen?
Yes. 100%. 100%. There's far too much money for both to be silly and not take this fight. Far too much money. As we've been saying, the true valuation of this fight is probably a third of what the numbers we're led to believe both will get. You'd be silly to walk away from that. That's it's big. They can't fight anyone else and get anywhere near that money. So fight each other, give the British public what they want, whether it be in America or anywhere else in the world, and just get it on. And I expect the fight to be announced very, very soon.
You're getting fired up about it now. More fired up.
Not particularly.
Would you go? Would you go to New York?
I don't know.
If the show goes, we'll be there. But
maybe. It doesn't. I mean, it's a fight that the public wants. So for me, I don't care. I think they're both past their sell-by date, and all we're doing is giving them a race to the bank.
But Simon, honestly, the momentum will begin to.
Oh, it would be ridiculous. The first press conference would be insane.
Oh
yeah, I hear that. But I would rather go and watch. Moses fight Hrgovic than watch Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury.
You're not going to Moses Hrgovic.
I know I'm not, but I'd rather watch it.
Palatial home in Spain.
That's fine. That's a choice.
Right. We're live in talkSPORT with Selco. It's where the trade goes.
Michael, where are you with Isak at this moment? I just think that particular penalty, Szoboszlai was always taking it, and likes of Isak had far more to lose than he had to gain by taking that penalty. But where are you with Isak at this moment in time? And he looks to me, he obviously had big injury problems and all that stuff. The move was well documented. You know, Newcastle fans are unhappy. What's it going to take for him to get playing with a regular confidence and show the ability that we know he has?
Well, I'm not sure about you, Ali, but I had plenty of injuries in my career, so I know how hard it is to get back, and you do need a bit of time. And everybody's given him time and understood that, but then he's sort of finished the season, then he's gone to the World Cup, and now he's had a pre-season, and you just think, okay, now we're starting to run out of excuses. We need to start seeing the real Isak, and we know how good he is. I mean, wow, we saw him for Newcastle. I mean, he's absolute class. But we haven't seen it for Liverpool just yet, and I think, you know, questions will come now. As I say, always given the benefit of the doubt in the past with Liverpool, but at the start of this season now we're expecting, and Liverpool absolutely need him. They've lost Salah, Ekitike's out, there's not that many options in attacking areas. They absolutely need him to be on top form. Yesterday he was far from it. I thought he was a yard off, and that's worrying. But so was Wirtz. I thought he was really quiet as well. So, you know, it wasn't the greatest performance for Liverpool. They actually did well to scrounge a point in the end. But obviously he's the big money signing. He's headline maker, and I can't say he played well, because he really didn't.
talkSPORT News.
Good afternoon, I'm Toby Gillis. The Prime Minister says the UK stands ready to help Nepal financially or on the ground after the fatal flash floods there, which has seen at least 270 people killed. Over 30 British tourists are missing. Andy Burnham says it's our duty to help.
Nepal has been there for Britain in our hour of need, and we will be there for Nepal in its hour of need right now. So the immediate offer that the Foreign Secretary has relayed to the Nepalese government is an offer of first responders, search and rescue support.
The number of asylum seekers being housed in hotels in the UK has halved over the last year. At the end of June, the number stood at just over 16,000 people. Home Office figures also reveal 40,000 who had no legal right to remain were deported, but there was a slight increase in asylum seekers in non-hotel accommodation. Police investigating the fatal crash that saw 2 police officers die on Teesside last week are not ruling out a connection with a fatal house fire yesterday. An aunt and her 7-year-old niece died in the blaze, and 2 men are being questioned on suspicion of murder. And yellow weather warnings will stay in place over a large area of England and all of Wales today. Northward heading downpours will put many areas at risk of flooding. Up to 3 inches of rain is possible in some parts.
talkSPORT Sports Headlines with Bostik. For workable, easy-to-apply mortar that tools easily, pros trust Bostik.
talkSPORT understands that Bradley Barcola is closing in on his move to Liverpool, and Ayub Buadi could feature for Manchester City live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Tom has more at 1.
White and Jordan. Optimised for maximum confrontation on talkSPORT.
The 150th anniversary test match in Melbourne with Visit Victoria and the Barmy Army.
Now, how does an all-paid trip to Melbourne, Australia for 7 nights sound to you? talkSPORT are sending one lucky listener and a mate down under this March. Thanks to Visit Victoria and the Barmy Army, you could be at the MCG watching England take on Australia at the 150th anniversary test match. Talking 5-day match tickets, 7 nights hotel, an exclusive pre-match function with cricket legends, and a day trip to the Great Ocean Road. Return flights and spending money as well. Head to talksportwin.com right now to enter for full terms and conditions. How lovely. We are talking boxing this Thursday lunchtime, and Adi Oladipo is in studio with Simon and myself. A big night of boxing, big weekend coming up, of course, on Saturday. Moses Atoma in London up against Filip Hrgović. But also in Birmingham, MVP celebrates its 5th anniversary. Yeah, it's a big night there for MVP. The promoter and co-founder of MVP is Nakisa Bidarian, and Nakisa joins us live from Birmingham, the very venue for Saturday night. Nakisa, thank you so much for joining us. Tell me about Saturday night and the significance of this anniversary.
Thank you for having me. We're excited to be back in the UK, our second show with Sky. We started MVP August 29th of 2021. And that was a pay-per-view with Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. And we made a decision to make a women's bout, Amanda Serrano, the co-main event. And many people ridiculed us and didn't understand. And so it's pretty special. It's serendipitous to be here 5 years later on the exact date, doing a massive card on Sky Sports, headlined by 2 pound-for-pound top fighters in Michaela Mayer and Chantel Cameron, and the co-feature of Caroline Dubois versus Amelia Moore, in what we're billing as a UK versus US 5-fight main card on Sky Sports.
Wow. It's incredible. When you say just 5 years, honestly, the lengths they've gone in 5 years, and I guess the speed as well. And I think the last 2 years have been very impressive. Some of the talent that they've signed, big fights being put on. I love the fact that they've now gone into MMA and they're going toe-to-toe with the UFC and Dana White, and I think that's good as well. But I think for more importantly, like I've spoken to someone like Ellie Scotney, and it's almost breathed life into her. And then now all the girls that are going over there and signing big fights, getting paid well, and opportunities. And the fight that they've got this weekend, let me ask Nakisa, the fight you've got this weekend, Nakisa, Michaela Mayer, Chantel Cameron, is a massive one for female boxing. It really, and if Michaela wins, I know she's really good friends with Clarissa Shields, but you kind of potentially see that one as a super fight down the line. So, I mean, big fight for both, big fight for Michaela, big fight for Chantel. And that's what you've been doing, Nakisa, for the last again, 5 years, but I think in the last 2 where you've gone supersonic. I think these big fights where if you lose, there is a way back, but you almost, fall down the ladder a little bit. If you win, though, it's another super fight for you.
Yeah, look, our philosophy is driven by my experience at UFC and MMA, in that a loss doesn't define you. And we want to continue to provide these athletes a platform, the push, and the opportunity to make record-setting paydays. At the end of the day, we're not a charity, we're a for-profit entity, but we believe that women's boxing is as exciting as the men's product. And we have an ability to have an umbrella brand that doesn't have the complications you're seeing with a Fury versus Joshua, or many cross-promotional opportunities that exist. And so by bringing all the best athletes under one platform, we can give fans the best fights as long as the athletes want them. And in most cases, these phenomenal fighters do want them. I think the winner of this fight will go down as one of the 5 greatest female boxers in history. When you think about Chantel Cameron, she has to be in the GOAT conversation because she went to Ireland, beat Katie Taylor, went back again in the rematch and almost beat her. And now Michaela Mayer has a chance to cement herself in that same status.
Wow. I mean, MVP, Nakisa, do you consider yourselves the primary UK promoter of women's boxing?
We consider ourselves a global promotional entity that has focused on women's boxing since inception and has become the reference brand for the sport of women's boxing. And when you think about our recent merger with PFL, we now have over 400 athletes under our roster, which makes us the second largest fight organization after TKO.
Okay. Simon, are you having this? Incidentally, Nakisa, where are you about 3-minute rounds for women's boxing?
I'm a big proponent of it. I think, one, we're believers in choice. So athletes should have the choice if they have the experience. And as you know, in the amateurs, fighters are fighting 3-minute rounds, and many of them continue to train 3-minute rounds. 2, we're big proponents of equality. And 3, we're proponents of allowing fighters to have the opportunity to intelligently build towards a finish, a TKO, a knockout, which at the end of the day is what is the most exciting part of the sport.
Excellent. Mayer against Cameron, Saturday night in Birmingham. Simon, does it wet your whistle? I mean, there'll be a big demand for it. It'll be a noisy,
yeah, I mean, it's a good fight. I mean, I watched Michaela Mayer, unfortunately, I thought was a very controversial loss against Alicia Boomgard many years on the Clarissa Shields Savannah Marshall undercard.
Yeah.
So she's a good fighter. The challenge for this particular card, with no disrespect to Nakisa, is it's on the same night as you've got Moses Atoma and Filip Hrgovic. But insofar as what they've done for women's boxing, where women's boxing direction of travel is going, they have been a revelation. Ben Shalom was in that space. He was doing certain things. These guys have really picked up and taken it to another level. So yes, of course, what they're doing is meaningful and substantial.
And Nakisa, you promoted AJ Jake Paul on Netflix. What has that done for AJ's profile at this particular time in the US?
Well, let me go back to Simon's comment, though. Obviously, never ideal to go head-to-head with another boxing product, but that's a product that's behind pay-per-view and is, in my mind, not going to see the benefit on being on a platform like Sky Sports that's widely available, both in the UK and in the US. Will be on ESPN2 and ESPN+. So very close with George Warren and the Queensberry team. We're trying to figure out that the main events don't overlap, but I hear you, Simon, and that's a big fight for boxing for sure. In terms of Joshua, look, he came to the US many years ago, unfortunately wasn't successful against Andy Ruiz, and there wasn't much awareness of him. And I will say what the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua fight did was really make him a part of popular culture. And that's how you get outside of the pond that we all fish in, because there's not enough fish in that small pond for all these promoters to truly break through and build successful businesses. Our goal, our objective has always been to be a part of the broader cultural sports market. And that's what I think Anthony Joshua got with Jake Paul.
And just before Addy comes back in, is that why you think commercially it would be more successful to have AJ Fury in the US than here in the UK?
I'm not sold on that. I think it's a close call. I believe if you do it prime time in the UK, the entire country will stop in some way, shape, or form and pay attention to what's happening. My fear in doing it in the US, and I think they'll probably look to do an earlier walk time, So you're looking at a midnight 1 a.m. versus a 3, 4 a.m. main event, was what my understanding is. You're probably going to lose a lot of the casual fans who aren't going to stay up to watch. And so but the US is a much larger population. So if you lose 5 to 6 million UK viewers, do you gain that by being closer to prime time in the US? I will say the ad dollars are probably larger by doing an event like that in the US. So that may be a driver of the thought process.
Okay, Nikisa, good luck with your fight night in Birmingham this weekend. I hope it goes well, celebrating your 5th anniversary, MVP, and of course, the headline, Michaela Mayer against Chantel Cameron. Stay with us, more in Itoma Hergovic in the final stretch today.
Gabby!
Jamie, what you on about,
the
mate?
Villa.
You're just jealous, mate. I've been
Jamie,
hearing you all day.
what are you on about?
You're talking guff, mate. Just because you're jealous.
What are you on about?
You're jealous.
How can you finish 17 2 years in a row and spend half a bill?
Because we've got the cash, Gabs.
Yeah, but that ain't fair, mate.
See? Jealous.
It ain't fair, Cundy.
No, I agree. Do you know what? I agree with Gabby on this. I totally agree with him.
No.
This has got no. Not
win the Europa League,
I'm not picking.
and we can't flipping spend.
I'm not picking sides. I'm telling you now. Villa and Newcastle should be able to spend.
Cry me a river.
No, 100.
Cry me a river.
Jay, listen.
Thank you, Cundy.
I totally agree with him.
Gabs,
totally agree with him.
Stop crying, mate.
Jamie.
Stop crying,
Totally
mate.
agree with him.
Stop crying.
Jamie.
Gabs.
You're signing rejects from Manchester City.
Good
Marmouche
players,
is
mate.
unwanted. Savino's a reject. Robertson's a reject from Liverpool, not wanted anymore. Conor Gallagher's a reject from Atletico Madrid. Spurs are signing rejects.
Hold on a minute. You sold 5 of your best players. All right, you're absolute guff this season. Oh, the rules! Oh, the rules! I thought you was a big club. I thought you was a big club.
Well, we are a big club, but
you're
the
not,
rules
though.
don't let us.
You're not, though.
Because you
Can't
and
spend
your
any money.
cartel, top 6, you and Cundy, don't want Villa in there.
Don't bring me into this. I've got nothing to do with this, Gabby.
Mate, keep you out of it. Only big boys allowed in the top 6, mate. You're not big. You have to sell your best players. We don't have to sell our best players.
17th, right, and go and spend £500 million.
Because we're a big club, Gabs. Stop whinging.
Of this sport.
Try to pick up a bell.
Try and pick up a few bells, eh?
I'll throw him out of the ring.
Monstrous right hand, and down he goes. He is fabulous.
just coming up to 10 to 1 this Thursday lunchtime, and of course all eyes on the O2 on Saturday night here in London. Moses Atoma goes in against Filip Hrgović. It's live on talkSPORT. It's live on DAZN. I'm delighted to tell you that Moses joins us live from the O2. Moses Atoma, good afternoon to you.
What's going on?
What's going on is that we're talking to you, and we're delighted about that. One fight away from becoming heavyweight world champion, Moses. The second youngest in history behind only Mike Tyson. How does it feel to be on the brink of such a potential achievement?
Do you know, in my mind, I don't even see it as I'm one step away from becoming a world champion. In my mind, I'm thinking I was going to knock Filip Hrgović out, because at the end of the day, even when I win that world title, it's like the grind don't stop, it still carries on. So it's not even about winning the world title, it's about beating Hrgović.
Moses Ade here. I can always tell when these fighters are ready to go, and they've had enough of the questions.
Yeah.
He's got the press conference. He doesn't want to do that today either. Just want to get to Saturday. Moses, what's it like when you've got someone in front of you? Look, we've done a few face-offs with Jermaine Franklin, Dillian White, and nothing really happened. What's it like when you've got someone now that is talking a bit? That's new to you, right? I mean, you look at your past opponents. Balogun didn't really say much. Dempsey, McKean. What's it like when someone now is going back and forth with you?
You know, like, I say this a lot, but I genuinely do mean it when I don't really care or pay attention. At the end of the day, talk is cheap, and like obviously the only thing that matters is getting the victory on fight night. And like, I know Filip Hrgović has always been a talker. Like, he's always had something to say in a press conference. He's always had something to say in the build-ups. And even after his fight, he's either making excuses or saying X, Y, Z. So, like, at the end of the day, it's like I'm just focusing on the job and, you know, hopefully get the victory.
Moses, despite the fact that, and I think you're right, what you just said about fighting Filip Hrgović and beating Filip Hrgović, the rest of it takes care of itself. But you are aware of what's being said about you. You must feel the weight of expectation. You're fighting for the IBF Heavyweight Championship of the world. You're being billed as the next best thing. You can shut it out, but it's there. Do you feel this weight of expectation upon you, where you're expected to go into this fight and do what Moses Atoma has done to everybody else?
Do I feel the weight? I would say this fight week has definitely been a bit different than every other fight week. It's like the fight keeps getting bigger, and the odds are always going in my favour. So it's not about expectations, but it's more like if I was to beat, or when I do beat Filip Hrgović, am I going to get the same credit as if I happened to be an underdog? That's the only thing that I'm kind of maybe concerned about. But apart from that, it's like, you know, you can have the weight on the world on me, but like, as long as it don't affect my my performance against Filip Hrgović, like, I just push it to the side, and then there's just noise.
I noticed you said in the DAZN face-off that you don't need to have, quotes, all the speed or all the power to get past Hrgović. So is he that beatable then?
It's not that he's that beatable, it's more the fact that I don't need the abilities that he says that I have to beat him. It's more about the ring IQ that I need, the working out the tendencies, bringing the bad habits out. They're the type of things that I'm going to be focusing on, rather than speed, power, and X, Y, Z.
It's strange when I hear that from Moses, because he almost says that, and you'd almost expect that to come out of the mouth of someone that's had 40 fights and is maybe, you know, in his late 30s. You forget Moses is 21, and he's drawing all this experience, but only as a 21-year-old. Can you get excited, Moses, about what's coming on Saturday? I always feel like it's business. Again, as I said at the top, you've got your business face on, but can you enjoy it? Is that possible? Can you enjoy the fight week? You've done a load more promo. You're doing a lot more interviews. I saw you on the Piers Morgan show. You're with us. Are you able to kind of step back and say, let me just enjoy fight week? Or is it just a case of, let's get to Saturday, then we'll enjoy it after Saturday?
Yeah, it's like, I probably wouldn't. It's like if you used to go for a run. You necessarily won't enjoy the run, but it's like after you've done it, you get a high, you get a buzz, you feel good. That's probably how I can describe it. It's like I wouldn't say I enjoyed this right now, but I'll probably next week when I'm sitting down, being a world champion, I've got a cup of tea in my hand, I might say, do you know what, I enjoyed that, do you know what I mean?
Moses, I remember sitting with you. Do you remember it? In the foyer of a very posh hotel.
Yeah,
They're all
Saudi
posh.
Arabia.
In Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
with Francis Warren.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, it's quite an industry, and you hope to get to the very top. Well, Saturday night, you could do just that. But all the demands that are put on you, and you're just a young man, and you were saying to me, yeah, I know. But yeah, I'm all in. Got to be all in. Well, you're all in now, aren't you?
Yeah, no, of course, and you know what, at the end of the day, like, I've got to push the boundaries, you know? Like, there's only so much of, I don't know, Dempsey McKeans, Dillian Whites and XYZ you beat before you kind of have to step up, so, like, listen, if I wasn't confident in Filip Hrgović, I probably would have, I don't know, gone elsewhere or whatever, but it's that I don't see something in Filip Hrgović that I'm like, I'm going to be worried about this, I'm going to be worried about that, you know, so...
Yeah,
Once I become a world champion, and then I can call the shots and, you know, make these big fights happen. I feel like everybody, I'm only 3 years into my career, but I feel like everybody wants me to fight everybody like now, right now. I got time, you know.
I mean, in that same DAZN face-off, you said you shouldn't be praised for having a good chin. I don't get hit. I mean, you meant what you said what you meant, and you said what you meant, and you meant what you said. Do you find that an interesting take by Moses, or do you find it somewhat naive?
I mean, I thought it was naive. I thought it was the first misstep I'd heard from Moses, because it enabled Filip Hrgović to get in the conversation and slightly buoy Moses off a little bit, because the one thing you do need, and Moses does know this, you do need to have a good chin, because you're not going to avoid getting hit for the entirety of your career. Even the best fighters in the past, going back to Ali and beyond, knew they had to have a good chin. So when you say that, Moses, you don't really believe that you don't need to have a good chin, do you?
No, so do you know what, Simon? I've always respected your opinion, because although you haven't been a boxer yourself, you've actually studied the game, and I'm like, do you know what? I hear some of your opinions. With what I meant by my comment was more of the fact that, let's say you was to achieve so many different things, and let's say there might have been one accident, or maybe there might have been one time you might have got buzzed or whatnot, but you dug it out. Does that mean that your credibilities are not credible because your chin hasn't been tested like Filip Hrgović or Joe Joyce and whatever? Do you get what I mean? Because at the end of the day, when I'm standing here, if I'm standing in front of an opponent, I know that he has the ability to knock me out. Whether I let him do that or not, I still have to have in a mindset of my mind that I'm not gonna get hit, because this is heavyweight boxing. Any boxer has enough power to knock out any boxer, and that's. But
I think it makes you bristle.
Whether you have a good chin or a bad chin,
it makes you bristle because people keep saying it to you, and they keep on. The one thing they question about you is whether you can take one on the chin. And most people know inside the sport, they've seen you in sparring, they know that you can. But it seems to bring out a sort of slightly defensive reaction in you, in terms of you bristle a little bit when you're asked about your chin.
Honestly, do you know what it is? Maybe it's my problem, because I'm trying to explain to people that just don't get it. I'm obviously in the boxing ring, and I'm trying to explain a mentality or a thought that I have of mine that people ain't in the ring to experience. So maybe that's a frustration of mine. I should just probably stop explaining things and just agree with it.
Listen, Moses, you've given us so much time and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Just before you go,
good luck.
Just before you go,
thank you.
What we're going to see on Saturday?
Fireworks, man.
Look forward to it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Moses Atoma, down at the O2, thank you so much.
21.
It's amazing.
21.
Very assured of himself. But,
yeah. Addy, thank you so much for being
with us. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
You're off to catch a flight to sunny Spain.
I am.
And enjoy a few days out there as you fiddle around with the cable that's attached to your ear, well away from me. And remember, Moses Atoma against Filip Hrgović is live in DAZN, and it's live in talkSPORT. That is then, and this is now. And now it's 1 o'clock.
they were set a target by Celtic. That win should have been enough. And I know personally my football club has lost a 4-goal lead in the first leg before. So it can happen, and you really build yourself up. If you think you can do it, you get yourself there. And Lask have obviously had those meetings, done that work, done those trainings, and they've got themselves a victory in the tie and gone through. I think what this says about Scottish football, victory in the tie and gone through. I think what this says about Scottish football is really important. And let's face some facts here. Celtic are below the New Saints of Wales.